the Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
The following stream has been approved for truth seekers by the DEFCON Truth Alliance.
If the opinion that's coming out needs people to be silenced, it's a psyop. There are psychological operations in play.
So if you can't question it, if you're supposed to just go along, it's a psyop.
Yeah, and if people have to be silenced or publicly shamed because of their information, and they're not telling people the sky's falling, they're not saying crazy shit. Mm-hmm. They're just saying basic stuff, and they need to be silenced. That is a psyop.
There's a war out there, old friend. A world war. And it's not about who's got the most bullets. It's about who controls the information. What we see and hear, how we work, what we think. It's all about the information.
We're the ones that were on the ground. We're the ones that are actually reporting what's going on.
Patrol said all units clear out from there. We're not sending anybody over to that location.
We have an Insurrection Act for a reason.
That guy can't win. It's a morality tale.
The eyes see and the ears hear, the mind believes.
What's up? What's up, brother? February 10th, 2026, folks.
The year of disclosure, the year of unraveling, unveiling, the year that it all comes out. This is the year of the conspiracy theorist. Holy shit. We were right. We were all right. I mean, it's mind-blowing, isn't it?
It is. It absolutely is. I do want to take a quick second to do something that is selfish. But I want to do it.
No.
I'm telling you, I want to do it at the beginning of the show, and I want to do it at the end of the show. And I want to wish my firstborn, my Lily, my princess, my daughter who's now married. I want to wish her a happy 26th birthday. Today is her birthday. Today is the day 26 years ago I became a dad. And beautiful young girl. She's out shopping and having a blast with her husband. So I just want to say happy birthday, Lily. I love you very much, kiddo.
Aw, that was sweet, Alpha.
Now, with that, this has been this is the year of the conspiracies, like you said, man. Run with it, bro. I love.
Well, you know, this goes into a lot of conversations I've had on my show that you and I have talked about. Number one, Epstein. If people go back and watch the original DEFCONs, they go back and watch the collaborations that Alpha Warrior and myself did back in early of 2025 when all of this Epstein stuff was coming up, and you had Elon Musk say Donald Trump's in the Epstein files, Pam Bondi saying, oh, I got the Epstein files on my desk. And everybody's like, release them. You remember you had the fake journalists all holding the binders up, and everybody's like, that's all released information. Those people suck anyway. Why do they have them, right? Remember all this?
You already made me write down one note because like, oh, we got to make sure we cover this because I want to see what your perspective is. Keep going, man.
So then what do we come out and say? Around March timeframe, I think is when we did the show. We came out and said, look, Donald Trump at the time was like, oh, just forget about the Epstein files. It's nonsense. And what happened? The left blew a lid. We said, guys, this is psychological warfare. This is Trump using psychological warfare on the left. Because number one, 2019, nobody knew who the hell Jeffrey Epstein was. If this came out in 2019, no one would have cared. If this came out in 2025, they would have said that it was a Donald Trump ploy to take down his enemies and it was weaponization. No, you had to get the minds of everybody associated with who this guy was. And the trap that they set was Donald Trump is implicated by the Epstein files. He immediately came out and was like, no, well, let's just forget about the Epstein files. And we told you, everybody's like, Donald Trump's implicated. Oh my God. MAGA's flipping out. And we're like, guys, calm down. It's a psyop. I'm telling you, trust me, what you're watching happen right now is the left and the right are going to come together and they're going to say, hey, we need the Epstein files released. The left's going to come together because they were assured their information was removed. They were assured that compromising information was put in there about Donald Trump. Right. And so they came out and Bill Clinton, everybody, oh my God, release the Epstein files. Congress, oh my God, we got to vote on it. And what happened? During this whole time before the actual release, which was just a few weeks ago, you had all the lefties out there, the Krasenstein brothers, all of the podcasters talking about the Epstein files. They're informing people of even though their focus was Donald Trump. Here's the thing. Now that it's out, you can't ignore it. Now that it's out, the evidence that is there, they can't ignore it. They can't say, well, the Donald Trump must have slipped something. No, Donald Trump didn't want these released, remember? Donald Trump's name's in there, remember? Oh, God, this is glorious.
President Trump created the word panikins specifically for the Epstein debacle, bro. Because you nailed it. They're just like, like, you know what? We got to find that meme from the TV show The Office. When they're like, it's happening, and everybody's freaking out because that's what it is. 100% agree with you on that, man.
Well, and so then what do you get? You got to go back to the cue boards, right?
Well, let me prove a point that you made too, because a lot of the people in the audience that are watching tonight, and including yourself, Josh, you guys have been awake and red-pilled years ahead of me. I was just a regular Joe working as a cop in Southern California. I worked for the government. And when Epstein killed himself, for those that don't know, that was my red pill moment. Because I'm watching the news and I'm seeing people with signs that say, Epstein didn't kill himself. Chicks wearing shirts that say, Epstein didn't kill himself. And I'm sitting there, Josh, I'm like, I'm proving your point. I'm sitting there, I'm like, who the fuck's Epstein? I'm like, why does anybody give a shit whether this dude killed himself? People commit suicide every day. But it was so much on the TV that I was just like, I'm curious. You know what I mean? So I started researching it, and then everybody knows the story. It's the same red pill after that for everybody. Just one tunnel after another tunnel after another tunnel. You never look back. But this was literally from the day he killed himself. I had no clue who he was, bro. Never heard of him. And I worked for the government.
That's right. Now, go back to one of my favorite Q posts. October 21st, 2020, 4904. Now playing 4, 5, and 6. Q says, all 3 movies playing simultaneously. Do you find it interesting that everything discussed in the past is somehow making the news as of late? Now, why is this interesting? Guardian of the pedophiles, Epstein. Panic in DC, people implicated by that. Not only implicated by that, the fraud, the waste, the abuse, NGOs.
Benghazi.
Well, then you got election fraud, and then you got FISA-gate. Now, so I've always said this from the get-go, that Epstein is this intermediary. FISA-gate and Epstein are these things that hold it all together. So if we go back to all of this, this is all interrelated. So we're finding out this right now through the Epstein files releases. Number one is Epstein was working with that reporter Wolf, right? To take down Donald Trump from 2017 to 2020. We know this. They were trying to produce information on Donald Trump to try to ensure that he did not get reelected. Okay, well, now let's go into the kind of the directory of who Epstein was working with. Well, who were Epstein's friends? Adriana de Rothschild. You have Lynn Forrester de Rothschild. Well, Lynn Forrester de Rothschild's kind of an interesting connection. So Lynn Forrester de Rothschild just happened to be one of the premier London bankers, as well as Adriana de Rothschild, right? Well, guess what? In the London banking industry, they worked with another guy by the name of Lord Mark Malloch Brown. Directly connected. Lord Mark Malloch Brown, if people don't remember, worked with the George Soros Open Society Foundations. He was on the board of directors from 2014 to 2020 until he became the chairman. Well, Lord Mark Malloch Brown was also the CEO of Smartmatic from 2014 and 2020. FISA-gate. Now you go back to George Soros. Now you got the George Soros connection here, right? Now you go back to 2016 in June, and you get the Lenny Bernardo email under the Open Society Foundations talking about Hillary Clinton's foreign policy advisor on her campaign had gotten back to him, and that HRC agreed to move forth with the smear campaign on Donald Trump by tying him to Russian compromise. Except they didn't have the Russian compromise, but they were going to get it through 2 companies that they worked with, Threat Connect and CrowdStrike. This is right before the Clinton Lynch Tarmac meeting, which happened in late July. This is after Hillary Clinton met. This is before James Comey and Hillary Clinton met on July 4th weekend. And then Hillary Clinton went again with Barack Obama on July 7th to North Carolina. Okay. So when we start to look at all of this, the panic in DC is that, number one, they've been defunded. Number 2 is that they're exposed. Number 3, we see criminality running abound. Everything from Benghazi, Uranium One, Clinton pay for play, Pizzagate is back in the news. We'll talk about that tonight, I'm sure. But then you get into 2016, Mueller, Russia, FISA-gate. Then you get into the 2018 midterms. George Soros funded all the attorney generals, governors, and secretary of states of all the swing states that were the difference in the 2020 election. And the interesting thing about the attorney generals, the secretary of state, and the governor in the 2018 midterms is we didn't know it at the time, but these were going to be the specific politicians in 2020 that were going to make a critical decision and break the law and then cover it up. And what the decision was is when COVID came about, they were, the attorney general, secretary of state, and the governor, the ones that allowed for mail-in ballots through emergency orders through the governor, ruled after the election as unconstitutional, but the damage was done and they couldn't overturn it. Now that's important because now that shows premeditation of why George Soros was funding those specific candidates. Okay. So now you got the Georgia stuff is coming out. And we're going to see if CanCon could actually join. I don't know if he can, but geez, now you have the Georgia stuff coming out. You have the grand jury in Fort Pierce, Florida, that is investigating Mar-a-Lago and the Crossfire Hurricane Binder. The 2016 Intelligence Community Assessment that Thomas Speciality was a whistleblower for. So you have all of these things that are intertwined. Epstein fits nicely in the middle of this because here's an interesting part of this. I have a few different things pertaining to Epstein on this. Oh yeah, this is good.
Well,
I know you got to do the ads. Let me just put these two things out there, and then we'll go into the discussion. Okay. So, two things. Where is it? That's not it. There it is. Okay. Dr. Nathan Wolf. All right. Founder of Metabiota. You and I know who Metabiota is. A company that was operating in Ukraine biolabs under the Defense Intelligence Agency contract through Black & Veatch, was partly funded by Rosemont Seneca, Hunter Biden's company, is in the Epstein files. In 2014, and this is actually a critical point, 2013, Jeffrey Epstein got introduced and was meeting regularly with Dr. Nathan Wolf. People don't know Metabiota used analytics and epidemic models to track the global spread of SARS-CoV-2 and forecast its trajectory. So then you have another one, Dr. What is his name? Ian. I had this one out there too, but he is directly associated with COVID-19. Then you have Bill Gates and Pandemic Panning, Event 201, 2019, October. This was all premeditated. This was planned. That Jeffrey Epstein was integrated within this globalist infrastructure and network to bring about the globalist one world government, new world order, people. It's all intertwined together.
I agree with you completely. 100%. With that, we're going to pay some bills. Folks, do us a solid. I see a lot of new handles in all the different chats, whether it's YouTube or Rumble or X. Let people know what state you're from. And if you're not aware, there's Badlands community throughout the entire country. And so if you're not part of one, you're like, what are you talking about? Let people know, hey, I'm in Texas, or Texas is huge. That's a bad example. Let people, I'm quadrant 1 of Texas, but you can get into these Badlands communities and you'll have a lot of fun. But with that, here's our first ad, and we'll be back in just a second.
Science proves that a healthy immune system is the body's first defense against the smallest of ailments to the most catastrophic. Coriolus versicolor is the most sought-after, all-natural supplement for both humans and pets to help boost the immune system. There are over 400 studies worldwide on its effectiveness in humans, including Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and now from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine. Together, we can help reverse this terrible tide now plaguing your loved ones and give them the immune-boosting supplements that they need.
Today, it's scarily easy for criminals, scammers, or anyone with bad intentions to find your personal information online. Your home address, phone number, workplace, even your family members' names are exposed with just a few clicks. With this much information is public, scams aren't random. Hundreds of people search sites and data brokers compile profiles linking your name, address, phone number, relatives, and online behavior. Scammers use these profiles to decide who to target and how to approach them. That's how identity fraud starts, long before the damage shows up. Patriot Protect removes your personal data from the internet, wiping it from Google and every major website where bad actors search for targets. Patriot Protect finds and deletes your personal information from 240 plus people search engines and data brokers. Once your profiles are eliminated, their search and destroy protocol runs continuous monitoring so every new exposure is detected and wiped immediately. It's the peace of mind of having your own security team, all for about the cost of keeping your porch lights on. If you want to take control of your personal information and reduce your exposure, go to patriot-protect.com/DEFCON. Use the code Badlands for 15% off all Patriot Protect plans. Again, patriot-protect.com/DEFCON. So with that, brother, let me get our
and the other one was Ian Lipkin. So back in 2012, Ian Lipkin was scheduling a meeting with Epstein, boasting that he directs the largest, most productive center for pathogen surveillance and discovery. And I have a record of Soros and Gates actually funding all of this leading up to COVID-19. So, this is, guys, this is so monumental of what's coming out right now. And way more is going to be exposed here in the coming weeks and months.
When you were talking about, all of this being pre-planned, and shout out Jody Irvin, if I'm saying that correctly.
Uh-oh. Did I lose Alpha? Or did Alpha lose me?
No, I can.
Oh, okay. Everything paused.
Okay. I was like, no, I can see you. You're good. And I'm checking the other monitors. Yeah, we're straight. But correct me if I'm wrong on this one. The Olympics, I don't remember if it was the winter or the summer, but the Olympics preceding COVID, didn't they have like one of their ceremonies where everybody was like in hospital beds and there were things floating in the sky that are like, was that? And another shout out, Jim Moore gifted 5 subscriptions to Badlands, but didn't they have like these things floating that kind of look like viruses? I mean, I'm not tripping, right?
Nope, you're right.
Okay. And so the reason I bring that up, because all this stuff does come full circle in cycles. And I'm pretty sure Josh is pulling something up. So while he's pulling that up, here's what I want to warn people about. If anybody was watching my show last night, Just Alpha, YouTube took it down. Now, here's what's interesting.
What?
Yeah. The reason they took it down was for copyright for the Olympics. Now, here's the thing. I didn't play their audio. I showed a clip from RT. RT had a Olympic clip on their X profile that wasn't taken down. So I brought up their clip with no audio because I'm talking over it. And this is what I was talking about. I said, hey, just so you know, there's a massive amount of Patriot accounts that are being taken down on X right now for copyright violations because people are showing the Olympics. Because there's certain things, people start seeing the symbolism. So people are like, hey, I want to show this to, my followers on whatever platform it is. And I think it's NBC that's running the Olympics.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to be using AI with the amount of people that they're hitting. But even mine. So I'm like, what the heck? Like, I didn't even play their content. I was literally playing an article from RT that was talking about it. But and it tells you for the Olympics, NBC coming after you. So the reason I wanted to share this with the audience, as through this course of the Olympics, be very careful if you go to show something, because this is one of the ways with all the stuff coming out, this gives them an avenue to start taking down Patriot accounts that we need to start sharing information about whatever comes out. So just understand, if it's something that has to do with the Olympics, find a static image or no image at all, and just make it strictly audio or written content about it, because they are hunting Patriot accounts to take it down. And why? Because go back what I brought up, the Olympics preceding COVID, when they shared this stuff, we got out en masse to share it. So anyways, if you got a comment on that, I'd love to hear it.
Well, yeah, no, you gotta be very careful what you play and what you post. I mean, certain things, like if you put the NFL game up there, you're going to have 1 million accounts out there showing highlights from the NFL game. They're going to be fine. But the moment that you do it, oh, yeah, you're going to get your account deleted.
It tells you that they have a list of accounts that as soon as a violation pops up, they're like, boom, we got them, boys. We put bait on the hook and we got them. Let's take them down. And granted, YouTube didn't actually do it as a strike. I found that very interesting. They said this is a non-strike episode removal. I'd never even heard of that before. So it was literally them just shutting down the entire podcast, which was a 4-hour podcast. I was like, you sons of bitches, right? But it happened.
Yeah, I can't find it, but the one that you're thinking about, I think it was in China or Singapore, and you have kids that are coming out of their beds. There's monsters coming up under the beds, and they got like needles hanging down. Yeah,
it was something. It was, man, and I remember hindsight. I'm sure somebody will drop a link in the chat or something. But I remember hindsight, everybody saying, "Man, that kind of looks like they were like forewarning us about freaking COVID." And it just, those patterns repeat themselves. But anyways, to bring it back to Epstein, is just you put that thought out there, and I wanted to grab it before I forgot it. Ghislaine Maxwell, Ghislaine, right?
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine.
I'm not British. I don't know how to say it.
CanCon yells at me too. So is Ghislaine or Ghislaine?
You're like Jizz Lane, right? Like no, it's like
Ghislaine.
Elaine
Maxwell. I've never heard that one.
Yeah, Elaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine.
French saying Ghislaine. All right, so I'm going to trust the person that's French to go along with Josh and that Ghislaine. So Ghislaine Maxwell, they bring her in to testify yesterday, and I'll bring this up on the stream in just a second. And of course, she's not going to say anything. She's trying to make deals. So the suspicion was she was going to plead the fifth, and she did. Now that's not what was interesting. So last night, because this went down yesterday, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to dig into it before I went live with my show, but I still brought it up because I wanted to talk about the fact that she did plead the fifth. But here's what I want to show everybody. So this is her. They got these like medical curtain dividers that are behind her. But that's an interesting image behind her.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're looking at a almost white background, and they use these medical dividers to, create a background for her. So I don't know, like that's interesting. Do they have people working on the other side of her, or, it's just an interesting setup to have dividers right there, because it looks to be like a conference room with the size of the table that they're at. So just the dividers themselves caught my attention. Like that's weird, right? But still, it allows that portrait in the back to be highlighted. And of course, some great anons that we're with sent me and said, Alpha, check out post 3106. And so I said, well, let's go look at post 3106. And there's not a whole lot to it, really. It's dated March 17th of 2019. And that's it. So it's one of those things that's like, well, you want context, but the post itself doesn't even have context outside of a date stamp and delta. Now we can look at the timestamp, 9/19, there's different things like that. But again, I just find it very interesting. So again, let me go to her background. Now, granted, it's not the exact same image. I'm aware of that. But it does seem eerily freaking similar. 3106, March 17th, 2019, with a 9:19 p.m. Eastern timestamp. What do you mean?
Wait a minute. So didn't Donald Trump just announce some event that's going or something that was going to happen on March 17th? It's like last week.
I know May 17th.
Was it May 17th?
Yeah, because May 17th, he's rededicating the United States to God. We talked about that one.
No, wasn't it March? Oh, it was May 17th. Okay, May 17th.
That was May. But I don't know with this one, man.
Well, that's dark to light. I mean, that's death, life, the death, or dark to light. Yep.
It's just interesting. And
and also go back to the image of Ghislaine. Now, do you remember a few days prior, they released inside video of her cell?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she had the orange jumpsuit on.
Yeah, but she also had long hair.
Oh, shit. I need to go back and look.
I got it. I'll pull it up. Give me 1 second.
Oh, man.
But she had long hair, and that was, I believe, recent video footage. So she either cut her hair or that's not Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't know. But, yep, there we go. So let me pull this up real quick.
Let me drop this one off for you.
So here's a still from her cell. right?
She has a way bigger head of hair right there, man. And it's obviously goes to her shoulders.
And this don't even look like her. I don't know. That don't look like her. And why is she in a button up and not in her orange jumpsuit?
I mean, if they're going to do conferences and stuff like that, I can get it. The attorneys can request something like that. But I mean, the head of hair like that, that's unmistakable right there.
Yeah,
You know, like I'll give a pass on the jumpsuit on the jumpsuit, you know, and she looks a little thicker in the orange suit, but you know, the camera angles in those suits, you know, they give them to you, you know, bigger than what they're supposed to fit. It sucks that I even know
Well,
that.
so for anybody out there, what's happening is she filed a habeas corpus request, and she's asking for protections and immunities from her testimony. So basically, she doesn't want to get indicted for what she says or charged with perjury for what she says because she's probably lied before on her official depositions. So she's trying to get out of jail or at least get any further charges. That's one of the reasons why she pled the fifth. So it's not over with Ghislaine. But isn't it interesting that you have Ghislaine right now, and then you have Bill and Hillary coming up here at the end of the month? And Bill and Hillary is going to be very much the same, except they're going to speak about Donald Trump, I believe. They're going to do a lot of pleading the fifth. But I don't think the questions that are going to be asked by Comer and them are going to be really around Epstein and the island and underage girls. I think it's going to be financial information. I think it's going to be connection information. It's going to be putting things together. And it's going to be about the Clinton Global Initiative, which Epstein helped to fund and start. Oh, yeah. New emails have found out that Epstein gave $10 million to the Clinton Global Initiative to actually begin its original funding and start up. Huh. Well, think about that.
You know, it's like you see all the people. I mean, here's the thing. If you had any questions, who's pro MAGA or pro Trump or pro America, just go look for their stance on Epstein. And it's like, it's so easy. You know, we keep talking about, you know, separating the wheat from the chaff, and you got to know who the infiltrators are. I mean, this one has been absolutely superb in exposing that, because like what you're talking about here, or even the Epstein donation, they showed a check. I think, I don't know if it was $1 million or maybe it was $100,000. It was a large check that Epstein wrote to Ghislaine Maxwell's what's that, the Tomorrow Project, the you know, the one in the water, the island, the Atlantis thing that she was doing. You know, very few people talking about that. You know, the money
I was
that
talking about it.
I expect it from you, but very few people. You know, very few people talking about the money that went into Adam Schiff, you know, or Chuck Schumer, you know, or Hakeem Jeffries. You know, a lot of people not talking about that stuff. A lot of people not talking about, you know, the Clinton images. Like it's just Trump. And then when you start getting information out where it says Trump was an informant, you know, that Epstein thought that Trump was an informant, and all these, those very same people don't want to bring that up. So you can tell that there's a lot of agenda being pushed here. But I want to take a step back, because this one, bro, and I don't know your position on this. That's why this could be an interesting conversation here. You remember, and I'm not going to go there because that's going to give away my position. So I don't go there just yet. You have emails coming out about Bannon. And right now, everybody, I guarantee you, there's people in the audience that are ready to go to jousting on positions here. Bannon's bad, Bannon's good. I don't know, right? That those are the arguments. But all this information surfacing. You know, Bannon did the documentary with them. Bannon had these emails with them. Look at Bannon and Epstein were collaborating to take down Trump, right? But while all this is going on, you know, Trump still reaches out to Bannon, still says nice things about Bannon, you know, still, you know, keeps them within the loop of stuff. And listen, folks, if you think Trump's barely learning this information between Bannon and Epstein, you're so far from what's going on. Trump's known about this before it ever got released. Anybody that's in his circle, whether even going with Lutnick, right? He knows all this stuff. He's been aware of it. And so I'm looking at it and I want to show this post because this was the dead giveaway for me, bro. If there was any hesitation, this was the one where I was just like, I see what's going on here. So let me bring it up on the screen, and it's Elon Musk. And he says, Bannon is evil. And I said, all right, I think I know which way I'm going with my position on whether Bannon's good or bad here.
Well, what did the article say?
The article is from Ian Miles Chong, and it says,
oh, well, that's a fucking great source. Number one is anything that fucking douchebag fucking puts out, just throw out.
But he's one of Elon's people, you know what I mean? So Elon's gonna repost this shit. He does it all the time. It's just it drives a lot of us bananas. But nonetheless, I'll just read the first two sentences of it, and you'll get the point. For nearly 2 decades, Steve Bannon has operated in the gray zones of global finance and digital culture. To the casual observer, his career looks like a series of disconnected pivots. Hollywood, and he goes on and on and on, right? He's painting the picture that Bannon is a complete shitbag, just bad deep state actor.
Mm-hmm.
But then Elon Musk comes out and says Bannon is evil. Now, is this the same Elon Musk, Josh, that came out and said Trump's in the Epstein files? And it brought
so what's coming out about Bannon right now? That Bannon ordered a bunch of sulfuric acid at his apartment in Florida. Sulfuric acid is known in tubs, and he had acid wash on his tub in Florida. Roger Stone is saying, "Oh, that's where he, how he destroyed his enemies." Oh no, that's not where he destroyed his enemies. Ha ha ha. Now, is any of that true? This is what I think about Bannon. Okay. I've met Bannon once, don't know him personally or anything like that. Bannon left in early 2018, late 2017 from the first Trump administration. Not even 30 days after Bannon left the White House, he was immediately with Jeffrey Epstein in New York City. And he stayed with Jeffrey Epstein all the way up till 2019 when Epstein was arrested.
Real quick though, I just because we're in that window. When Bannon was in the Trump White House, were the cue boards activated, Josh?
Not necessarily. No, they kind of no, they weren't. Okay. They didn't come out till October 28, 2017. And Bannon was kind of I think Bannon was gone really before then. But this is the idea. Bannon goes, he lived with Epstein for 6 months, 6 to 9 months, has over 18 hours. The interview was just released of Epstein. There's more to these interviews. There's over 16 hours of recorded footage. But we're seeing in the email exchange that Bannon befriended Jeffrey Epstein as a PR guy to help him change his public image. Now, I think that this is comical because, remember, Epstein, nobody knew who the hell Epstein was in 2017, 2018, 2019. But what happened was Q, and I don't know if they talk about it much, but Q started exposing it, and this started getting really big, and Epstein's name was floating out there, and Bannon walks in to try to help him change his image. But Bannon looks like he was fired and done bad by Donald Trump, so they immediately accept him into this group. Now, what are my thoughts? I think Bannon was the intermediary. Infiltrate, get as much information as humanly possible, and then at the end, cut the deal. And the deal is that Epstein goes into WITSEC and lay it all out. Get Epstein prepared for all this, capture all the information that we need, find out all the inside connections. Now, you notice Bannon has been really, really quiet on all of this. And I think that that's very, very telling. We can look at it in the context that, maybe Bannon is guilty. I don't think so. I think that that's what Elon is hinting towards. Oh, you should look into Steve Bannon. And, I think more and more every day that Epstein is alive and well. And that Epstein is in.
Hold on, before we go there, because I know that's probably going to take up a significant portion of the show. I want to stay on this Bannon thing though, because I agree with you. I absolutely think that this was infiltration. Just the fact alone that Elon's coming out and he's like, Bannon's evil. I was like, all right, he signed off on my like that's all I needed to rubber stamp my theory of where this is going. And this is what I'll tell people is if you're going to infiltrate Epstein, especially into a position of influence, do you think you walk into Epstein's office or you climb into the Lolita Express and just say, hey, I'm an informant. I'm here to set you up and frame you and develop rapport so I can get all the information to take you down. Like, does anybody here think that that's the way these operations work? Or do you think that it's somebody that just says, hey, I got a bone to pick with that Trump guy because I was doing good and I lost my job over there and I need work. And if you can help me with work, I can change your image. And then start developing a friendship, start developing trust, start building rapport. Ladies and gentlemen, as much as you may hate that, that's the way you see work or undercover work. That's the way it is. That's the way it operates.
I think what we're going to see, Alpha, is in the near future, we will see that Bannon was most likely an informant or a CI working for the Department of Justice or military intelligence.
I'm good with either of those. And you see the picture I have in the background. I'm not sure if you're familiar with who this other gentleman is, but I'm going to bring it up. And this, I think, really supports what you're saying here, Josh. So let me bring this up so everybody can see what I have back in the studio. And so this is Bannon.
Miles Gao.
And this is Miles Gao. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with Miles Gao, he was
Chinese billionaire.
Yeah, Chinese billionaire, quote unquote self-exiled. I don't think he really had a choice. Comes to the U.S. FBI picks him up, and he's still incarcerated. Well, as far as what we know. But when the FBI goes and does a raid in his suite up in New York City, the suite catches fire, right? It's like those literal movies where conspiracy theory with Mel Gibson, he hits the switch and the thing self-destructs so you can't find any evidence. But one of the things that Miles Gao's been doing is he's been warning America about the CCP. And I'm not talking about just saying, oh, CCP bad. No, literally talking about these are the other billionaires. He's identifying the deep state in China by name. And he's talking about the tech companies that they're buying. He's talking about the routes that they're going about it. Like this guy, Miles, whether people like him or they don't like him, the intel that he's providing is painting a picture of a deep state within the CCP. Well, this was, for those of you that forgot the story, this was the yacht that Bannon was on with Miles Gao when these guys get taken down. And so Bannon had a very strong relationship with this guy as well. So, and again, this is 2018 that we're looking at here. So you're looking at the relationship with Bannon and Epstein. You're looking at the relationship with Bannon and Miles Gao. And this just screams that Bannon...
Wait, hold on a second. So you're saying that Bannon had a relationship with two very rich, wealthy, and powerful people, Miles Gao and Jeffrey Epstein, unrelated relationships. He hangs out with Jeffrey Epstein. At the end of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is arrested. Then he goes and hangs out with Miles Gao. And at the end of his relationship with Miles Gao is arrested and incarcerated. I don't know. I start to see a trend here.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm just...
Two people with highly critical information, the national security and the workings of the global elite and how it all functions and operates.
And here's what I'm going to say about both. I don't think Epstein's dead. I think Epstein is 18 USC 3521. And I don't think Miles Gao's in custody. I think he's in witness protection. And both these guys, like you said, tied to Bannon. And I think 100% that this is an intelligence operation.
100%. Absolutely. And now Bannon is bad. He ripped off people's donations off the wall. No, that's not true. I know the people who ran that. I've seen guys. You're talking about James Comey and Chris Wray propaganda and weaponization. Okay. The same people are telling you that Donald Trump instigated January 6th.
And we know
I don't
the
know.
same people that were involved with the wall, and they've told us the story and the facts, and the
That's right.
receipts and the documentation there is so transparent. You're just dealing with the corrupt FBI.
That's right. You're dealing with corrupt law enforcement that's weaponizing it against Trump allies and Trump friends. And if that was the case, Donald Trump would not be friends with Steve Bannon.
And I mean, how else do you explain it, Josh? And listen, I'm open to the idea of being wrong, but provide me a strategic formula where that makes sense. He doesn't have to be friends with Bannon anymore. If he knows Bannon's bad, he could cut him off. But he's not. And here's the thing. God, what were their names? It was a couple months ago where Bannon went and did an interview, and I know we talked about it. If it wasn't DEFCON, it was Q After Hours. But he says, well, we'll define the terms of presidency later. You remember what interview I'm talking about? When they're like, well, Trump's saying he's going to run for a third presidency. And Bannon says, well, we'll argue what defines a term for presidency.
Right.
Listen, that don't sound like the dude knows some shit, man.
Well, I mean, listen, there's a perspective that I think people need to kind of take on the world, is that I always looked at the world as a multi-headed hydra, right? And what you have is the different heads of the hydra are different factions, and each faction has their own ideology. For the last 100 years, the largest faction, or not the largest faction, but the faction with the most allies and its ideology was a one world government, commie-fascist, technocratic, oligarchical controlled, right? Satanic in their ideology and their thinking, absolutely no care whatsoever for human life, absolute disregard. And they had taken over all of finance, all of politics, and infiltrated every organization on the planet to the point where all of those other factions had to align with them in order to get things done. That all changed. And so not only in this multipolar framework that we see coming up right now with China and the United States and Russia as a distant third, but you're also having that same multipolar framework being devised on the global elite infrastructure. These factions are all now positioning themselves for various different points of power and control. And so when we look at people like Steve Bannon is incredibly wealthy and very well connected. And this guy knows a lot of damn things. And he's absolutely positioning himself to use the information that he has to gain a stake in the future world that's coming. And you know, that's one of the things why Donald Trump associates with a lot of these people that we think should be behind bars, is because when you get up to that level of the billionaire level of all these people, their institutions, their organizations, their companies, and their businesses, that's the influence that built this one world government infrastructure. You can't just dismantle that, because then the world does truly collapse. Because if you understand how the economic systems work, trust me, you don't want Bill Gates and all these people to be taken out to prison all at the same time. They'll be handled and dealt with all in due time. But you can't just go out and just like mass arrest all of the, you know, JP Morgan and all of these people. The reason being is because our current economic system is fake. It's manipulated. You don't believe me? Go look at gold and silver. Whoop, whoop. Go look at Bitcoin. Whoop, whoop. Go look at the stock markets. It's just the stock market's in a continual trend.
I'm so gonna clip
upward.
that, bro.
Yeah, the stock market's in a continual trend upward. It's just going up, 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 up. That's impossible. It can't happen unless there's manipulation, and it's all manipulated. It's all fake. Okay. And so here's the thing: is if you pull the rug on the people who are doing the manipulating, all of that goes away. All of that crashes. And what happens when all that crashes? Real people get hurt. Real people lose everything. And
the deep state reclaims control because their contingency is collapsing the system. That's not the good guy contingency. Let me jump in on here. I was actually going to do, I'll probably still do it later. Yeah, dude, that had me laughing. So you're just woo woo. I was like, yeah, I'm going to clip that shit. But here's the thing, because I see a lot of good people that are getting sucked into this because of the psychological warfare into their emotions. And people are like, put it. There's this video, and the guy looks sincere and he looks well-meaning. So this is not a shot at that dude. because I like patriots that actually come out and make videos like he did. It's the dude looks pretty solid. He's in a truck, and he's talking about, Trump. If you keep protecting the system, well, then you must be part of the system. And a lot of patriots are reposting this video. It's going viral, And if you're telling us that if the system collapses, that the whole thing breaks down, well, then let it collapse. And emotionally, everybody's like, yeah, let the shit collapse. Here's where me and Josh are saying, everybody, time the fuck out. Do you know what you're really asking for? This is not 1775. This is not a legitimate, organic, revolutionary time. Everybody's infiltrated. Everybody. There's not one apparatus that is not infiltrated. And so you got to understand that any grassroots organization that's out there, it's been infiltrated by the deep state. A lot of the people that we're platforming, a lot of the people that we like, some of the people you may even be subscribed to are not who you think they are. And they're waiting for that moment where they're supposed to do the move that they're trained for. We're talking spy v spy world. Like that's where we're in, but so many tiers into, layers into the onion. And so why is that relevant to the system collapsing? Well, if the system was to collapse into complete chaos, people are going to look to their local environments for leadership, the people that are going to take over. And guess who's been pre-planted there for years? Telling you, oh, I'm America first. I'm MAGA. Look I have this voice. And you're just like, yeah, we're going to go to Alpha. Alpha's been, I'll use myself as an example so I don't hurt nobody's feelings. We'll use Alpha. We're going to have Alpha run the southern district of California because he's our guy. And you're like, Alpha's shown us for the last 4 or 5 years that he's a patriot. We trust him. Look at his story. But what you don't realize is that the deep state, that I've been working for the deep state the entire time. I gave you a story that developed rapport. I made moves that made you trust me. I did works and did podcasts and put out material that said, yeah, this guy has to be good. This way, when the entire system did collapse and you look for people to put into power, you put these people that were just playing a role the entire time. Mm-hmm. If you look at all around the world where there's been revolutions, why after all these revolutions do these new governments, right? The new governments, the ones that were put in by these new people, was a revolution. Why all of a sudden these new governments, they're working with NATO, they're working with America, they're working with the globalists. How is that? Because the people that were put into power were deep state from the very beginning. So just understand that this is a long explanation. I get it, to explain that when you say let the whole system collapse, you're literally asking for your own suicide. That's what you're asking for.
Someone just said in the Rumble chat, Alpha is a freaking Fed.
Can neither confirm nor deny.
Now here come the conspiracy theories. So in talking about what Alpha is talking about here, you can't collapse the old system until the new one is in place. It's really that simple. Now, the great thing is the new one is coming into place. It's coming into being. And I think that that's one thing that we have to see is that, yeah, we all want to burn this old system down. We all want to demolish it and take all of these people down and their wealth down with it. But are you listening to what Elon Musk is saying? Elon Musk is saying right now, 2026 is the year of the singularity. He says in 5 years, money won't even matter. Now, I don't think people can really fathom what he means by that. And I can talk about it maybe. Let's get through the rest of this news because I know there's more stuff to get through. But let's come back to that because this is very, very important to understand where society and civilization is actually heading and how we dismantle this old guard system and then bring about something that is beneficial to all humanity.
I definitely want to know what he means by that singularity. We'll get there. I do want to bring up a delta. I've seen this one making its rounds all around social media. Hold on, why is it not sharing? Hold on, let me just bring this back up. I thought I was sharing it. And I want to get your take on this. It's a popular photo, so it's nothing groundbreaking as far as something we haven't seen. but it is a delta from today. And I think it kind of supplements the conversation we're having here. And it's posted 3854 for those that want to look it up themselves. Obviously, February 10th of 2020, 137 timestamp on it. And it says the greatest military intelligence operation of our time. And, you know, it has all the kids looking at it. And then you have the teacher, the sponsor, the lady, whoever that is, that's sitting opposite of them. But it says right here, back channels are important. Attacks will only intensify. You attack those who threaten you the most. Enjoy the show. Now, given where we're at and everything that's kind of been unfolding today, how do you think this plays into it? Or you think this is just an old one that doesn't really matter anymore? Because like I said, a lot of people are still drawn to this. And I wanted to pick your brain on this, Josh.
Well, I mean, I think that there is a lot of relevance in the post in today's world. You know, back channels are open. Number one is we have the situation in Iran that is still unfolding. Now, contrary to what a lot of other MAGA, FAGA, and panicans will tell you, Trump did not bomb Iran every weekend over the last 3 to 4 weeks, like all of them were saying he was going to. You know, there's two people that told you that Trump was not going to bomb Iran, that all of the hoopla, all of the information saying Trump's going to bomb Iran. Oh, the Eisenhower's over there now. Oh, he's going to bomb Iran. No, he's not. No, he's not. Look, he hasn't. Actually, there was 2 massive fires in Iran the other day, and I believe that they were directed energy weapons, and that actually brought them back to the table. And you know what I think they were? So did you see this the other day, Alpha? Of and I want to get to the post that you're talking about, but the other day there was 2 back-to-back fires in Iran at military facilities. Now, I don't think people truly understand what happened there, and I'm going to lay it out for people. Hold on.
I knew there was 2 big fires. I wasn't aware that they were at military installations.
Mm-hmm. Well, one was in the middle of nowhere. It was a nuclear facility. Sorry, nuclear facility.
Okay.
I gotta find it, but this was, I believe, February 7th, and there was 2 massive fires in Iran at a nuclear facility, which is a military facility in Iran. Now, why this is interesting? There you go. Huge fire. There you go. Huge fire hits Iranian military base.
And what was the date of this? Because if it's the date I'm thinking, I think I have something.
February 6th. I can tell you exactly what this was. So there's this one, and then another one hit the nuclear facility. Now, what happened here? Oh, I'm not showing it. Sorry. February 6th. Huge fire hits Iranian army base inside the top military site in Tehran. Suddenly went up in flames. No word yet what caused it, and then this all went away. Do you want me to tell you, everybody, what happened here?
Yes, bro.
So you remember when you went to Forham and you had the B-2 that bombed the shit out of the nuclear facilities in Iran?
Yeah.
Well, Top Gun
Part 2.
Yeah, one of the bunker busters didn't explode, and Iran retrieved it. That's the base that they were holding it at, and a directed energy weapon went down and went boom, and fucking blew it up.
So that they wouldn't get the tech that was in it.
Yep. And then after this is when the information came out that Iran recovered one of those bombs. That is what happened. And by the way, after these fires is when Iran came back to the table and started negotiating again with Trump.
Do you remember what specific day that happened?
February 6th.
Okay.
Both of them were on February 6th.
Okay. So I'm going to show you why. Department of War CTO posts this on February 6th, bro.
Yeah, there you go.
You got the drones, the two stealth bombers, and you got the missiles taking off right here. And just so you know, there it is, February 6th, 11:44 my time. So that'd be what, 12:44, 1:44, 2:44, 2:44, or 14:44 would be that. Actually, let me write that down because
this happened at 3:45 Central, so 4:45 Eastern, on when these were starting to get reported.
And then let me see. There's another one that kind of doubles down on it, and I'm pretty sure you saw this.
And by the way, it correlated directly. The two fires correlated directly with the U.S. State Department urging Americans to leave Iran, and within the same hours that happened. And I think one of the thoughts were that, what if they have nuclear arms in there? What if they're building nuclear weapons? They have Chinese nukes or something like that in there, and one of those ignites. But I believe that what we saw there were directed energy weapons being utilized to eliminate U.S. Recovered ordnance in Iran. And Iran was defenseless against them. But that's also that's Donald Trump's big dick ploy, right? So that's what Donald Trump did in Venezuela when you had the Chinese foreign minister there, and he swept in with Delta Force with new secret sonic weapons and stole Maduro and moved Maduro out. He just did the same thing to Iran. In the midst of negotiations, Iran leaves the table. We're not negotiating with you. Then Donald Trump sends 2 beams down from space to take out the warhead that they recovered and the 2 labs that were working on it. And Iran comes back and says, okay, we're sorry. We're ready to talk now.
Obviously, you didn't know where we had it. we weren't as sneaky and covert as we thought.
Exactly.
I was trying to find one because the White House posted, the picture from Trump when he's on the White House, and it looks like one of those old Dirty Harry
he's got they posted another one. Is what did they say? He's coming for you or something like that.
They added drones to it, and I'm trying to remember what the date is, but I can't even find the freaking post because I think that was also
was it the Department of Labor, or was it the DOW?
I think it was the White House actually that posted that one, and I want to say it was either February 6th or February 7th. I'm trying to scrub through right now.
Hold on. Check the private chat.
All right.
There you go. I got it for you.
Oh, sweet. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me copy that.
Enemies of America have been put on notice. And that was February 9th.
Oh, it's February 9th. Okay. I was trying to see if it was the same day as that. That's the one. What's the time on that?
The time on that is 1:02 p.m.
So 11:12, 1:02.
Now, do you know how Iran puts out those propaganda videos about?
Yeah, they just did one on Telegram.
Yeah, so they put out those propaganda videos of nukes hitting U.S. cities and stuff. You know what I think Trump sends them through his back channels and connections.
I'm listening.
Hold on, I'm going to play it for you. I'm pretty sure that Donald Trump took this meme and sent this directly over to Iran. Give me 1 second. It's coming here. I'm almost there. I hate how I prep it and I don't have it ready. There it is.
Get us all freaking excited.
I'm telling you, Donald Trump sent this to Iran in response.
Feel like I'm getting deja vu. This is like a rock war number 2. A rock war number 2. I like to look through those oil supplies. I'd be ashamed if someone invaded you. If someone invaded you. And I ran so far away. From Iran, from them night and day. But this for USA.
I'm positive that he would send that to them in return. That was good.
That was good, dude. That absolutely was good. I pulled up the 102, and it's coordinates that go to the Philippines. Here I'll show everybody so you guys can see. It's this one. It's 102 November 5th, and it just says Godspeed and has that one. I'm gonna check the military time just out of curiosity to see what that comes up with, and let's take a look at. Actually, I think I did this one on my show as well. 1302 April 30th 2018, anonymous U.S. Central Command. Well, during the day and into the night exercise, Eager Lion 18 Jordanian Marines and U.S. Marines conduct live fire training to rehearse operating in a coalition environment.
Interesting.
Maybe a little something there on that one. So, well, let's get into the singularity. I mean, was there another delta that you wanted to talk about from today? Or are you good with going into the singularity? Because we already crossed that one.
I like this one. 714 is my favorite.
You got it? You want me to bring it up?
I got it. 714, Q post 7. Well, it's one of my favorites. So 714, February 10th, 2018. Mess with the best, die like the rest. 2 highly classified clown ops exposed. 44 remaining. Wizards and warlocks save the best for last. P in quotation marks Q. Now, who's P? It's not the Pope, as everybody suspects. It's not Pasteur, like some shitty people believe.
I'm very curious who you think the P is. I think Podesta would be too easy.
So, P would be kind of, hold on. Let me find more context here. Hold on. Okay. You got to bring up the other post to kind of do this. Nope, wrong. P. Damn.
Got me interested.
So, where are we? Well, there's actually only 3 mentions of it. So, you got to remember, when they put the bracket, we call them kill brackets, but this is used in intelligence and law enforcement to kind of separate from the original context, but bring importance to. And so P is, I believe, the Rothschilds. That's my thought. It's the Rothschilds. So, and this is, oh, dude, this is so crazy. So, Rothschilds. Number one is, I think we're seeing right now that the Rothschilds are completely being dismantled. I think that is fairly, people are understanding that you haven't heard anything from Lynn Forrester. Adrienne de Rothschild was an Epstein associate. But did you see this shit? You remember when we were talking about Epstein's emails with Kathy Rumler, who was a White House counsel under Obama?
I do
remember. You
remember
all this? And that she had emails back and forth with Jeffrey Epstein, and these were released in the last dump, but there was nothing incriminating in there. Well, guess what? We found the smoking gun. So, Catherine Rumler, former White House counsel under Obama, recipient of the CIA's Agent Medal from John Brennan in 2015, and current top lawyer at Goldman Sachs, was paid $10 million by the Rothschilds through Epstein to resolve a $45 million DOJ tax evasion case. Well, Obama was in office. Or sorry, this is in 2015. Yeah, well, Obama was in office. So as White House counsel, she was paid $10 million to get the DOJ to drop the fucking case.
How are you not going to snitch on that now?
How are you not going to go put this lady in fucking jail?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But if she's small potatoes, you turn her into a snitch.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping. I think that's what a lot of this is as well. I think a lot of what we're seeing right now is putting these names. So I know we disagree with Massey, right? I know we disagree with. I know you're like, Massey's a bad guy. I don't know about Massey, a bad guy or a good guy. Number one, he's got the most consistent Republican voting record of any Republican.
Except when it counts.
Except when it deals with increasing the budget, because he is a libertarian when it comes to economics. He's a Ron Paul libertarian. But
he wasn't when it came to Biden and McCarthy, because he passed that one and it was the largest one.
Okay. So when it comes to the Epstein stuff, and I know that Todd Blanche is like, we unsealed those names yesterday, and Massey's putting them all out there. They did not unseal them. They unsealed them after Congress went and viewed the names, the unredacted versions. That's when they did. So it was around the same time that Massey was putting those names out there, and Massey put it out there. There's a this is a sultan. There's only one sultan that's associated with the Epstein files, and so this is Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayman, okay, of UAE. And so Massey put this out there. This is the guy that was talking about, or that did the torture video that Epstein's like, oh, great torture video. He talked about eating and raping little children. This sultan, okay? So Massey comes out and says it. I think they're pressuring certain people. Catherine Rummel, right? Sultan. Why? Come forward. Talk to us. Hey, Sultan calls up Trump. What the hell's going on? Why is my name all? I thought you were going to cover this up. Hey, I can't help it. Tom Massey put your name out there. I don't know what to tell you. It's congressman, right? It wasn't me. And then, well, what are we going to do? I'm going to lose everything now. Well, why don't you come and talk to us? Why don't you come and tell us more about this network and how it works and operates? Are you willing to testify against other people? I think that that's what's going on.
I think that's what's going on. I don't think Massey's a part of it. That's just, I'm willing to be, wrong with that one. But like with the Sultan, it was the email that Massey, this is my issue with him, is that he's not forthcoming with his information. Like when he says, I exposed the Sultan, he didn't. The Sultan's name was already unredacted.
Yeah, he was grandstanding a little bit, but
on other files.
Social media.
It was the email that was still redacted on that one. And that's when Todd Blanche, and granted, I don't like Todd Blanche. I want that dude out of there.
Well, no. So it's Sultan.
And he says, but he makes a statement. He goes, look, the identifying information, we didn't get that passed yet. You guys have to request it, and then we can unredact that part. And that's why that's where the emails came. But the names themselves were already unredacted and exposed.
Right. So for everybody out there, the Sultan's name was already released as a kind of a co-collaborator with Epstein, and there was emails that showed the Sultan in the email chain. That specific email about the torture video, the name was redacted because they were protecting him. And then Massey came out and said, it appears that this is the Sultan, which this is an hour after he just looked at the unredacted files, which then Todd Blanche responded saying, we already redacted that name. Like, come on, you're grandstanding. This is already public information. It wasn't public information. Yes, they had released his name. He was in there, but that email specifically did not have the Sultan's name in it. It was redacted because they were protected. Todd Blanche was protecting him.
But it wasn't the name redacted. It was the email. And that's what Blanche was saying, that email, it was the email, which has
the email address. Correct. The email address was redacted. Yes.
And that's why, because listen, I think they're both dirtbags. I don't like Massey or Blanche.
I mean, I don't trust any politician. I don't trust Massey. I don't like MTG.
Here's my issue. And I posted a video today on what Massey did. And this is what my concern is. And we've talked about this, is everybody is treating the Epstein files as absolute fact. Every piece of information that's in there. And and what is that? That's muddying the water, because we know there's a lot of truthful information in there. There's a lot of crimes that are documented in there. There are a lot of human traffickers, child traffickers, Satanists. There are a lot of people that need to beat that biblical ending that involves a millstone within those files. 100%, I think we're all on the same page with that. But there's also a bunch of numbnuts that were watching podcasts of grifters that were putting out fake bullshit information. And then people from the audience that trusted them said, holy shit, I need to call that into the FBI, and provided it as a tip. And so then the FBI takes that call, they document it because that's what you got to do. And now people are
out on the Epstein files.
And then it goes into the Epstein files. Like that, just people need to understand that's how that circle of stupid shit works its way into this. Then you get people that grab it and they're like, here we go. This is it. This is what it's all about. And there's a purpose to that. And I said this a few years ago, when the deep state realized, what's one of our famous sayings in Q, nothing can stop what is coming. And it's a true statement. So if you're the deep state and you recognize that nothing can stop what is coming, what's your other option? Flood it so that when it does come, people can't find it. Truth becomes the needle in the haystack. And that's where we're at. And this what brings me to my concern with Massey. Massey comes out from the files and he says, we've identified 6 names. All right, fucking tell us. But he says, but I can't tell you guys because I want to wait till we're going to say the names. We'll say it in Congress.
Yeah, press conference. Oh, yeah.
And everybody was just like, I don't think people caught it. But I was like, I know exactly why he wants to wait till he's in Congress to say it. And it's because it's called the speech and debate clause.
Yep, he's got immunity.
He has complete immunity. That means he can go in there and say shit that's defamatory, bullshit, fake, and nothing can happen to him because he's protected. All Congress, it's written into the Constitution. They're all protected that way. If he would have said it during the press conference and it's something that's not true, now he's on the hook for defamation, civil liability, or any criminal thing that comes with it. So my position, this is what the argument I made in my video today is, if you're confident in the information you discovered, that these people are who you're saying they are, then you should have no problem saying it publicly because there should be a mountain of evidence to support it.
Well, but it also goes back to what you just said, is that not everything in the Epstein files is truthful or relevant, and we don't know. So in order to protect ourselves, hey, he's going to go do it on the floor of Congress.
So what he could have did publicly is he could have came out and said, hey, we found these 6 names that are back there. But just understand, everybody, that these are allegations. These people aren't guilty for this. We don't know. Yep. But these are the 6 names that we found, and these warrant further investigation. We need to talk to these people, and we need to question to them. Then there's no defamatory court that he's on the hook for because he did it responsibly. But here's the part with that. If he does it that way, then all his simps start telling him, oh, you're deep state, you're selling out. You know exactly that it's true. And he don't want that.
So, but also you have to see is that he's with Ro Khanna. He's with Democrats. And Democrats are kind of looking at Tom Massey as, hey, look, this is an ally on the right. And I want you to take that into consideration because now he's coming out saying, hey, Trump doesn't like me. Trump hates me. But yet I'm out here telling you this information right now that these are the people that are on it. And these are the people that are associated and implicated in it, which then the left takes is, hey, this has got to be true because it's coming from someone we trust. This is where I'm coming in saying he's playing a role.
I'm open to that. I am open to, and
maybe Trump doesn't like him, and he's still playing a role.
If he's playing a role, because again, we know that exists. If he's playing a role, then I'm good with that. In the end, like if we learn that, but until I know definitively that he's playing a role, my role is to call him out on his bullshit. You know what I mean? Because they're planning for that anyways. You know that's part of the way they factor this. They know some of us are going to go along with it, some of us aren't, and that's what creates the whole entire SIAC, right?
I don't align with people. I align with information. That's just my thing. Like, a lefty can put something good out there, and I'll repost it, and I'll be like, this is good info. Check this out, right? I tend to, I don't kind of look at these people that I don't know and I can't control and I don't know their true intentions. I tend to kind of just keep them all in the same bucket. But I wanted to show you this. This is something that's fairly interesting. This is an FBI document talking about the interview with employee number 5 from August 12th, the day after Epstein's quote unquote suicide. He says that they secured the scene. Employee number 5 remained with the CEOs Dupree and Adams until personnel from the office of the chief medical examiner arrived to transport Epstein to their facility. Due to the large news media presence outside at MCC, one male OCME official called and said he would be arriving at the loading dock with a black vehicle. In order to thwart the media, employee 5, Dupree and Adams used boxes and sheaths to create what appeared to be a human body, which was put into the white OCME vehicle, which the press followed, allowing the black vehicle to depart unnoticed with Epstein's body.
Sounds like 18 USC 3521 type shit to me.
But also remember, the night before is when the employee saw the guy in green military fatigues with Epstein in a wheelchair wheeling him out to a black vehicle. So, hypothetically speaking, if Epstein was swapped out with a cadaver, they removed. And what else did we just find from these same documents? The hard drive for the hours of Epstein's death removed by the FBI and destroyed. Removed by the FBI. So think about this. 24 hours prior, you get this guy that works there. He's been identified, who goes on 4chan and says, hey, this is what I just saw. This is weird. Green military guy with Epstein in a wheelchair wheeling him out. Okay? But then Epstein's in his cage. Then the next day, the video of Epstein in his cage all fucking day, gone, destroyed by the FBI. Then that night, the body, the medical examiner wasn't there yet. Remember, the medical examiner was not there yet. The body is taken secretly into a black vehicle and removed while the media followed a fake body. In other words, there is no proof or evidence whatsoever that people saw Jeffrey Epstein dead at the time of his so-called suicide. I have not seen one person come forth with any testimony. There's no testimony in here of first responders coming, paramedics being sent in, trying to resuscitate Jeffrey Epstein. The noose that was used could not have been used. It's already been determined in the medical report that his neck was supposedly broken from the medical examiner. He's not dead.
18 USC 3521. We called this out forever ago, bro.
Yep.
Forever ago. And now you're seeing, alt mainstream media that are all picking it up. And I'm just sitting here chuckling like, you guys, just go look up 18 USC 3521 and you'll see it's not conspiracy. There is a legal pathway to do this. There's, and no judicial oversight. With the evidence. And just so people understand, in law enforcement, you don't just get to destroy evidence. There's a whole process depending on, what the circumstances are. If a case has finally been adjudicated and it's property that's going to be returned and it's returned, if it's, people have a window to pick stuff up, depending on what it is, it could be, a couple of weeks, to a couple of years. And then, these things can go into, disposals. But if it's a case that's in an active investigation and you destroy evidence, those are felony crimes. So if no one's being charged for the destruction of that hard drive, there's only one reason. There's not multiple reasons.
It was lawful.
It was lawful. And the only way it could be lawful is that it has to come from a judge or the AG.
Oh, and the last point.
I'm just saying, Josh.
The Southern District of New York's U.S. Attorney's Office issued the notice of Jeffrey Epstein's death with a date a day before it actually happened. Epstein's alive and well.
Bro,
So,
I'm telling you, Hillary and Bill could be like, Trump did this. We have a witness that's willing to say this. And the entire left. Here's the thing. Trump's going to let them run with it for a while.
Yep.
It is going to get.
Well, I think this is why they subpoenaed Bill and Hillary.
It's going to be a force fire, bro. The week following Hillary's testimony is going to be a force fire where they're going to be calling for the arrest of Trump. Everyone's going to want to interview this girl and all that. I would go as far as saying that I wouldn't put it past the Clintons to kill the witness that they have come forward and say that Donald Trump is the one that took out the witness because she's, one testifying against him. And then when it's all said and done and everybody's finally exposed themselves and we make our way into the court process, people are going to see when Epstein comes into the courtroom, bro.
Well, I hope that Bill and Hillary, Comer does make this public and allows them to do it public. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to hear their opening statements. But I believe they're going to plead the fifth on a lot of things. I believe they're going to accuse Trump and demand he's arrested. But also they're going to perjure themselves.
Yep.
So transitioning, because I know we don't got much time left here. Slow transition. So Remember, I was just talking about what happened in Iran on February 6th, right? Now,
The two fires.
yep, the 2 fires, which we knew were directed energy weapons by the Trump, taking out their GBU, their bomb, their bunker buster bomb, right? The next day, China reports that they've developed high powerful microwave weapons capable of targeting Starlink satellites in low Earth orbit. All over the mainstream media the next day. What do you see over China that next night? Ready for it? Hold on.
I'm ready. You reminded me of something else I want to show you. They took it out.
They say that's a meteorite. That's a satellite being shot out of the fucking sky. So was that China's response to Trump using directed energy weapons in Iran, where China took out some Starlink satellites or maybe a U.S. defense satellite? Because it's happening all the time. It's back and forth. I think so.
I'm going to get your take on this then, since you're taking us into the space area. I want to find one other one. So if you want to fill the air for about 30 seconds.
Yeah. If you could name the first city on the moon, what would you call it?
Oh man, I would say I'd call it Luna. I mean, just
I knew you'd do that.
I got a bias, man. I got a bias.
Alpha Station on Luna, in Luna. Yeah.
For those that don't, that's my last name. For those of you that don't know, my last name is Luna, so that's why I said I got a bias. Luna is moon in Spanish.
Yeah, Elanotropolis is what I would choose. Elanotropolis. So Elon came out the other day and said SpaceX will build a system that allows anyone to travel to the moon. This is so insanely cool. Now, I want to make this point right here. We are on the verge of a technological revolution. Everything that we were talking about earlier, the singularity, all of this stuff coming up. Within 5 to 10 years, you will be traveling to the moon. And it won't be expensive, people. Which finally we can get rid of all the flat earthers. Like, it'll just die off. It'll just go away.
The ultimate conspiracy theory finally comes to an end.
Yeah, finally.
So here's what I wanted to share with you. Since we're talking about space and you're talking about China, RT reposted this, and funny enough, this was on February 6th. Oh, I'm not sharing it. Let me bring it up so you guys can all see it. RT reports China unveils Star Wars style space warship. Plans include orbital missile launches and unmanned space fighters. So I would imagine that a lot of this technology is from those SAPs that Hillary gave to them. And I mean, listen, this is 80s and early 90s Star Wars, but we're talking real life shit now, Josh. And you know, when I cringe when I hear Americans trying to trick other Americans and saying, you know, China doesn't represent a threat, knowing that. Have you guys not heard anything about Hillary and her emails in the SAP programs? How can you say that?
I want to bring up the actual Chinese video that they played for this.
All right, here, let me bring this down.
It's in Chinese, but I'll try not to play the audio. This is their conception of it. And it's a low Earth orbiter that can launch missiles and drones and fighter jets directly from it.
This is a thing from Marvel, bro.
And that would be their 6th generation fighters that they'd be launching from it.
And this is Marvel. Like, this is the Marvel comic books.
Well, so I want people to know.
Well, we posted something on that day too. Our Space Force did. And I really wanted to get your take on this. I think we could probably even dedicate a whole show to what I think is probably hidden in here. But let me just bring it up just to give everybody a look. So this is also on February 6th. United States Space Force posted this at 8:38 my time. So 11:38 in the morning, East Coast
time. Pull the image
up.
Click on the image and pull it out.
All right, let me read it and then I'll do that. It says, because I want to read this part. This is important. And then I'll bring the big image for you. Every delta is vital to our success. Check out the engaging infographic that showcases the connections within Combat Forces Command. So let me do this, and then let me open the image in a new tab so you get an even bigger image. So check this out. It says every delta, I talked about this last night. I really wanted to get everybody's take on this tonight from DEFCON. It says every delta is important. And I was like, that's kind of interesting because one, they're called mission deltas. Mm-hmm. So normally I think you would say is every mission's important. Or if you want to use the word delta, you would say every mission delta is important. But why would you use the second word in your post? Every delta is important. Unless you were calling out something to all of us. You know what I mean? Because the word delta has relevance to the Q community.
Yeah.
You know, so that was one of the first, that's one of the first things that caught my attention. I was like, delta. And so then I went in here. So then you come in here and it has mission delta 2, mission delta 3, mission delta 4. Okay, so then when we go down here, we should be at 5. No, they don't put 5 in. Mission delta 6, mission delta 7, mission delta 8. And then you say, okay, we come down to 9. And then from there, we just jump to 31. So I don't know enough about Space Force to be like, oh no, this is common because maybe those are the most popular units. But I did find it interesting that they would skip, mission Delta 5. That one caught my attention. And then
it's classified.
I am open to anything you or the audience wants to share on this. I just wanted to put this out into the universe so we can all start thinking about it because what do we have? Almost 3,000 on the other platforms and a little over 6,500. So close to 10,000, 9,000 people, Marine Corps math right here. Yeah, about 9,000 people watching. So 9,000 brains is better than one alpha brain. We go from 9 to 31 and then you got all these things. But down here in the corner is a little QR code. When you scan that QR code, all it does is it takes you to the Space Force website for those that are interested. I'll leave it there for a second so you guys can take a screenshot. But I mean, it's just, like I said, you got Space Delta 1 down here. So you got 1 and then we got 2, but they skip 5. And just for you guys that are wondering, no, this one's not 5. I went and checked. This is not 5 here. So they completely skip 5. So is 5 classified? You think that's what it is?
Well, there's 5, and then it goes from 8, 9 to 31. So where are 10 through 30?
I don't know, brother. I don't know what to tell you, man.
And then from 31, it goes to 41.
Right.
That's really interesting. So I'm very, very positive that we already have a moon base, that it's already established, that this technology is being slowly revealed to the world, not that it's being newly developed. Right? So
well, this is what I was working on last night. So, well, let's see what Mission Delta 4 is. Right? This is preceding 5. So Mission Delta 4 is a missile warning and tracking. So that's number 4. So then what's number 6? Cyberspace warfare. So, and then 7's intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and targeting satellite. So when you go through here, you got domain awareness, you got space electromagnetic warfare, missile warning tracking, satellite communications, surveillance reconnaissance, cyberspace warfare. You know what you don't have on here? When you just go through these and you get orbital warfare with like the satellites and all that, you have everything from the combat elements except the combat element. So I wonder if Mission Delta 5 is the combat element. Whatever there's the space infantry or the space pilots, I don't even know what the hell you would call them. But if you go through all, just to recap, you guys, you got space domain awareness, electromagnetic warfare, missile warning and tracking, cyberspace warfare, and you got the little satellite thing right there. You got your intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. You got satellite communications, so you got your comms. Then you go to 10, you got orbital warfare. And when you read the descriptions in all these things, it's like, okay, you got to have, if you all of these things you have here are to supplement a combat element.
Mm-hmm.
And the only so whether it's Mission Delta 5 or Mission Delta 10, like one of them, I would assume 5. But I don't know. That it's pure speculation. So, like I said, we got close to 10,000 people. Like, you guys blow up the comment section and tell us.
So this is interesting. So, did you know there's StarCom?
No, tell me more.
Space Training and Readiness Command. StarCom is United States Space Force Field Command responsible for education, training, doctrine, and test functions that build combat-ready Guardians. Established in 2021, it ensures Space Force develops and evaluates warfighting capabilities and maintains U.S. superiority in the space domain. Mission, StarCom trains, educates, and tests the readiness of Space Force personnel known as Guardians. It develops space warfighting doctrine, tactics, techniques, and procedures, conducts operational testing of systems, and oversees education programs to prepare Guardians to operate in contested and degraded environments. 2023 was designated the Space Force's independent operational test authority for all space systems and programs. That's huge. The command consists of 5 subordinate deltas: Space Delta 1, training; Space Delta 10, doctrine and wargaming; Space Delta 11, range and aggressor; Space Delta 12, testing and evaluation; Space Delta 13, education. Then you have Space Operations Command, and they don't have any specific deltas. And then there's Space Systems Command. And so I'm looking it up using AI.
I'm becoming more curious.
Yeah. So number one is that Space Force, I think, is eventually going to take over the entire military.
I agree with that. I think you'll still have like the Marines, the Army, but they're going to be integrated into Space Force. Like there'll be a branch of Space Force. Like that will be your Space Force. Like the Marine Corps will be your Space Force infantry, stuff like that.
Yeah. And, okay, let's get into this part, the singularity, because this is going to be an interesting conversation. So over the course of the last 30 days, everybody from Jensen over at NVIDIA, Elon Musk in various different podcasts, Mark Zuckerberg with Meta, to ChatGPT, and to Anthropic's CEO.
Well, real quick, if you could do me a favor, Josh, just because I want to make sure I have an understanding. If there's anybody in the audience, I'm going to be the guy that asks the question. Explain to me what singularity is real quick, so I understand what you're talking about when we get into this.
Well, singularity is a broad, generalized term in AI. So let me kind of explain AI. Number one, you have machine language. Machine language brings about language learning models. These are what we call agents or bots. These are pretty much what you're interacting with when you're using ChatGPT. These are LLMs, right? So the idea is that an LLM will evolve after it has more data, information, more energy into the system to what's known as an artificial general intelligence. And to give you guys an understanding, whether it's been announced by the world or not, we are at artificial general intelligence. That is 100% certain. We are at artificial general intelligence. I don't know if you've been following what's going on in the AI world, but you have Molt Book that came out this last weekend that was everybody on Twitter was talking about, or everybody on X was talking about. And what it is, it's a social media platform for language learning models, for bots, for agents. And they're going out there and posting all types of weird shit. But there is something else that happened this last weekend that is one of the main reasons why a lot of tech stocks lost a lot of money. There is a new application out there called Clawbot, or it's called, hold on, I got it right here. It's Claw Code, or hold on, it's called right there. OpenClaw. It's called OpenClaw. And it was actually originally OpenClaude because Anthropic's AI is known as Claude. So OpenAI just released kind of its automated agent infrastructure. And then OpenClaw came out. OpenClaw is an open source software that you can download. And here's the thing, Alpha. Everything that you want to do with AI, OpenClaw does. You create your own agent. OpenClaw goes out there. You give it its connection. You connect it to data points. And now OpenClaw will call you in the morning with a wake-up call. OpenClaw will take your notes and send them to you throughout the day. It'll listen through your phone if you allow it permission to, and then it'll give you a summary of all the conversations that you had throughout the day. OpenClaw will make reservations at your restaurant. OpenClaw will drive your car or get your Optimus robot to do your dishes. It's here. Like, this is real. It's happening. The guy who developed this was blown away that he basically integrates it with the back end of these APIs with AI. And OpenClaw is out there, a fully automated agent. You can go to OpenClaw and say, do my taxes. It will pull all of your information through your computer. It'll go in, it'll use your passwords, it'll log into your bank accounts, all your merchant accounts. It'll pull all your information. It'll log into the IRS. It'll download the 1099. It will fill in all of the information it needs, and it'll file your taxes for you. I shit you not. This is real. It's happening right now. This technology exists right now. It's developed in the last month. Okay. So this is revolutionary because all those apps on your phone go away. There's no need for them anymore. All you have to do is go to your AI agent and say, hey, what's going on Twitter? It'll pull up the Twitter feed and it'll show you everything that's happening on Twitter. You say, hey, what's going on Facebook? Put my Facebook and my Twitter feed side by side. It'll develop a code. It'll write a code. It'll put it in a visual display, graphic user interface, and it'll show you your Facebook feed and your X feed side by side, and you can just scroll both of them. It'll scroll it for you. You can save posts, screenshot. You don't even have to screenshot. Hey, screenshot that post, save it, put it into my file for summarization for my show later. This is here. This is happening right now, okay? Now, if you're not wowed by that, that's just artificial general intelligence.
Just want to clarify. I am definitely wowed. Also scares the shit out of me, bro.
Yeah. Somebody said OpenClaw is something you can recommend to invest in. It's open source. It's free. There's nothing, no money. It's just a whole bunch of developers supporting the software, and you can go out there and develop with it. I will know more next week because I'm actually working with it right now. But okay, so artificial general intelligence is when AI has basically accumulated the base gross intelligence or exceeded the gross intelligence of a human being. And we can absolutely say that is the case of all humanity. Singularity is, there's two ideas, is when the intelligence of AI is light years beyond humanity, or when it spawns a consciousness. And singularity is really kind of where AI has awareness, and that awareness connected with its intelligence is beyond the capacity of all human knowledge and all humanity's intelligence. And so we are coming to singularity right now. We will probably be at singularity within a year or 2 years. What does that mean? Take things like the Genesis mission created by the Trump administration. For people that don't know, the Trump administration, they created the Genesis mission, which is about 40,000 scientists that are experts in the fields of biosciences, of physics, of chemistry, of engineering, and they brought them in. They're giving them access to the most powerful AI that you've never heard of. I'll say that again. They're giving them access to the most powerful AI that you've never heard of. And what they're doing is they're tying in all the databases of all the national laboratories, of all scientific studies, of all scientific experimentation done over the last 60 years. And they're pulling all that information into this AI. And then those scientists and engineers are going in there and developing new discoveries in science and technology, and then innovating new engineering and technology from it. In other words, we will most likely solve gravity, which I believe has already been solved, but you will see that come out of that program, and that will probably be within a year or two. As in, we are going to make a 500-year loop in less than probably 20 years. I would say 5 to 10 years is going to be pretty damn spectacular. Now, Elon and all of these other CEOs were talking about, hey, this is the year of the singularity. This is really happening. And Elon said that money will not be viewed the same. He goes, you're not going to have to work if you do not want to. He goes, nobody will have to work in the world anymore. The reason being is because AI, automation, and robots are going to produce an abundance in the world without work or labor. So I want you to think about this. The Genesis mission goes out there, creates, let's say, cold fusion, to where you can produce massive amounts of energy cheaply. Very little cost, right? And now that feeds into AI robot systems that are now out there producing the world. They're doing all the farming, they're doing all the production, the manufacturing, they're doing all the building, where humanity doesn't have to do anything. Well, guess what? You have a society that has no need for money anymore. No need for our idea or conception of money. Now, I know that Elon has talked about universal basic income. That is not going to be a thing. I think that we're going to move more towards a merit-based system, to where your status or class in society is based upon your contributions. If you are willing to enact in society, if you take part in society, you have a better class structure in the sense that, go watch Star Trek and understand what Gene Roddenberry was trying to talk about. By the way, in Star Trek, there's no money. Money doesn't exist. There is no... And I know this sounds so fucking crazy, but there's quite a few good sci-fi books out there about this. I'm not saying there's not going to be wealth. I'm saying that money as you know it, central banks, debt, interest, credit, is going to completely transform. Everything will be asset backed. So think about this: is if you have $1,000 right now in your bank account, and you have an asset-backed currency, and those assets skyrocket in value just because of the nature of this economic system, that money, everything else declines. So think about, Alpha, if you had cheap production, why did the U.S. have NAFTA and GATT and take production and manufacturing overseas to China? Cheap labor, right? Cheap labor means more of a profit margin. What happens when that labor cost goes down to mere pennies? Now the cost of a cell phone, to make a cell phone, 15 cents. If it's 15 cents to make a cell phone, they're not going to get away with selling it for $1,000. It now becomes a $2 cell phone, and they can still have the same profit margin. In other words, your currency has more purchasing power. So I want to start thinking about the world in this context. It's about to change.
I get it. I'm tracking. I just also think that there's a fine line between when Elon makes a statement, you're going to work if you want to work, because, to me, work also translates into sovereignty.
Agreed.
And if you're telling me that, hey, technology can do all these things for me, there's always a cost. Even if we're not looking at it through monetary, there's always a cost. Does that mean that I allow myself to have a device put in me to work with the system, because that's how the system knows the efficiency of what's best for me and my health and all that? Because that just starts taking me down a whole nother.
I don't think it's so. Honestly, I know that's where Elon goes with all of this, and I know that that's what a lot of these tech bros have actually said needs to happen in order to stay up and maintain with AI, is that you have to integrate yourself into the AI. I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a series of scientific discoveries.
Well, let me say this, and I want your take on this, Josh. Not to interrupt you, but I don't want to forget. If we're talking about technology moving at the rate that you're talking about, that 500-year loop within 2 decades, then do we even need integration? I feel like AI could figure a way to where it's impulses and, we're all energy, right? And so everything that's happening,
what I was just about to say,
everything that's happening in our brain is something that could be measured and read. And if you have the program to read that, well, what's the point of putting something in my body if the device knows exactly what I'm thinking already anyways?
That's right. And so it doesn't need to put anything in your body. It's going, and by the way, we will naturally evolve from all this. Evolution doesn't happen in long durations of time. It happens very, very fast over short durations of time when the environment has drastic, radical change. And so, with this technological advancement that we're about to go through over the next 20 years, which is going to be like a 500-year leap, we ourselves will evolve and adjust to the technological landscape.
Man, I just want circa 80s, bro.
I wrote a song about it. I'm nostalgic.
Listen, I just want, listen, I want a truck where I can smell diesel fuel burning. You know, I want a Yamaha YZ450 so I can go hit the dunes. You know, I want a Yamaha R1 so I can hit the streets, you know, like, you know, jamming out to some 80s jams. Like, I don't care. You guys can all judge me. Like, I'm still going to be listening to like U2 and shit like that, bro. Like, you know, it just, I don't get me wrong. I'm excited about technology. And I think one of the reasons, and not just me, I think one of the reasons so many people have hesitations is because technology has always been something that's been weaponized to think that it cannot run parallel with biblical teachings and scripture. And I think that's absolutely false. I think that anything that has to do with creativity comes from our creator. So I think to say that anything that we create is opposed to our creator, I completely do not subscribe to that concept. But everything we've been and granted, it's propaganda, right? That's why a lot of the feelings and concerns we have is because they seeded that concern for us, so we would fight against technology. So we would be against technology, and that's listen. I want people, because I see some of the comments in the chat, and I get it. It's if we all acknowledge that they've been propagandizing us since birth, right, for generations now, then that means any conception that we have of something, it's because we've been taught to feel that way about it. And so, you know, it's like the kid, you know, with the stove. You know, you don't touch the stove because it's hot, you'll burn your hand, right? But the stove, the only time it's ever hot is when you use it, right? So if you get a kid and goes over there and he touches it and says, they were lying to me, it wasn't hot, right? And then later on, mama's, you know, cooking some soup and touches like, holy shit, that burn, right? You know, that's something that's real versus propaganda. So, you know, if you're taught, you know, don't go into the forest because the grizzly is going to eat you or Sasquatch is going to grab you. You know, those were the folklores of, you know, of the past to keep people to, you know, keep their tribes together, right? Because if the tribe started to expand, you lose control. Well, translate that propaganda into where we're all now. You know, well, if we do AI is going to take us over. If we create spaceships, and like we were, the fear's not natural. Like they programmed the fear into us. So it's like, how do you bring yourself to be open-minded to this stuff when everything that you've been taught since birth is danger, 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 bro? Like, you know, stranger danger to like the 1,000th exponential. You get what I'm saying, man? Am I making sense here?
A little bit. I mean, listen, the world is about to change beyond anything we can ever imagine. We're not going to be able to fathom it, bro. I mean, this is what Trump is preparing for. It's scary. It's fucking scary. And here's the problem with it. People aren't ready for this.
Here's the thing. You know, you made a comment. I think it was on, it was on Overwatch and the Guardian. Shout out Overwatch and the Guardian. If you guys are not familiar with it, we got a huge audience. Me and Josh have a new show that we started. We premiered episode 0 last week. It's on Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern. For those of you that want to, if you're not watching a Badlands show and you want to go watch it, you can go catch our replay. But again, that's Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern. You'll love it. It's a different show than we kind of do from the other stuff. But I think you said it in that show that, you know, people's life expectancies, you know, being able to live centuries through technology. And because if that's the case, and I believe science can accomplish something like that, you know, because
it's already been done.
Well, yeah. Are you talking about what they're talking about, the regeneration of cartilage in the knees? Because I saw that today, and that blew my mind.
So
Did you see that? Because if you didn't,
you
let
need
me
to send
everybody.
that to me. I don't have that
Okay,
one, but you need to
so let
send
me
that
let,
to me because
let
I
me
need
tell,
cartilage in my knee.
let me tell everybody. You know who not Dan Kane. Everybody knows Dan Kane. God, Superman actor. Dean Kane. Thank you. Dean Kane reposted it. Thank you. He said, he goes, "This is amazing." So they put out the news article today, and for anybody that has arthritis issues or like joint cartilage that was destroyed, they've developed it to where it can regenerate new, younger cartilage in your joints.
It's the tip of the iceberg.
That's, you know how big of a deal that is, though. Just to pull people's imagine, and I trust me, I know there's people in the audience that have dealt with arthritis. You know, that's a very painful thing, especially people out there with like rheumatoid arthritis and things like that. Like, you know, it's very painful what these people go through. They now have the technology to cure that shit, bro. And
Well,
not cure it
if
with
anybody's
like,
getting ready for a knee surgery or knee replacement surgery, you better be listening and don't go under that knife. I know
not yet.
one of my audience. Yeah, I would have one of my audience members. I know they're probably getting ready for one here on Friday. Don't do it. Listen,
Just
but
consider holding off. You know, go to Dean Kane's site, and he posted the article that's on there, and I mean that alone is you know, to me that's already Star Trek, Star Wars type shit, bro.
well, here's the key. That technology that you're talking about right there is actually the same thing that I'm talking about. So let me explain this. There's a scientist that's been around for a long time now. His name is Dr. David Sinclair. Okay. David Sinclair, doctor. Let me pull up an image of Dr. David Sinclair, and this is going to be an actual very, very recent image of Dr. David Sinclair. And nope, that's not what I'm looking for.
I'll see if I can find the one from Dean Kane so I can share that with you guys as well. But yeah, when I saw that, man, I was just like, God, this is
So
life.
this is Dr. David Sinclair. Okay. This is an image of Dr. David Sinclair. This is his most recent headshot, 2024. Okay. How old is he?
I'd say they're late 30s, early 40s.
62.
No, get the fuck out of here, bro. That dude ain't 62.
So Dr. David Sinclair, his research is in longevity. So have you ever heard of reversatol or NAC being used for anti-aging?
And you're talking about NAD?
NAD and reversatol.
No.
So okay, so to anybody who's trying to reverse aging, better skin, all this stuff, they're taking NAD and reversatol. All of that research comes from this guy, Dr. David Sinclair. Okay. So his lab at Harvard has been working on kind of understanding aging for well over a decade. What they realize is that aging, why humans age, is not actually programmed in our genes. Instead, it's a disease. Aging is a disease. What it is? Acute toxicity. As you get older, the toxins begin to overwhelm your body. Why? Because your cells replicate with DNA. They copy themselves. Every time they copy themselves, they're damaged a little bit because of the toxins in the environment. And so the next set of cells are damaged just a little bit more. The next set of cells will damage a little bit more. And over time, this produces what we call aging, right? So what they realize is that, well, what if we can go out there and get a copy of that original cell instead of copying the damaged cell? Then we would cure aging. Well, they ran with that. And over the last 5 years, Dr. David Sinclair at his Harvard lab, they ran medical test trials on mice and rats.
I remember you telling me about that with the
And
mice.
what they did is they allowed these mice to become elderly. They gave them heart disease and they gave them cancer and all of these things. They brought them to the point where they were almost dead in their elderly age. And then they gave them an injection. And within 2 weeks, those mice were 20 years old again. And how did they know they were 20 years old? Well, they figured out how to program this injection, but the mice now lived a full lifespan all over again. But they didn't stop there. So now these mice are 2 times older than any other mice have ever lived. Then they take it again. They let that mouse become elderly once again. And then what do? They give them the injection. Mouse goes back to 20 years of age. That mouse lives a whole nother lifespan. They did it for the first sessions. They did it for 3 times. So they reset the life of the mouse 3 times, and it lives 3 times its original lifespan. The last step they did was 5 times the original lifespan. When asked, David Sinclair was asked, why didn't you keep on going? He said, we didn't need to. We have all the data we need. And so for anybody who's wondering what that equates to in human years, the average lifespan of a human being is 72 years, and you 5x that, okay? That's 360-year lifespan. I want you to think about that for a second, because that test trial that I was just talking about has been approved by the FDA for human trials.
Somebody just put some funny shit in the comments. I gotta read it, bro.
Go ahead.
I gotta read it. The Diligent says, I bet these mice notice the Jews are running shit. It takes a little time to notice. God, bro. You guys are bad, man. You guys are bad. You guys are something else. And we're talking about living 3 centuries here.
So human test trials are approved by the FDA. What does this mean? And by the way, you might be thinking like, yeah, but this is only going to be available to the rich and the elite. It doesn't cost that much money.
I don't think it would be, because then you would see a revolution. You would see that there's more poor than rich.
That's right.
And you would see them take it.
Yeah. And so and by the way, people are like, well, how does it work? Well, that's where it kind of gets into a moral, ethical conversation. So what they do is they take your embryonic stem cells, and they found a way to program embryonic stem cells to basically go to a certain state of age. So they can take your embryonic stem cells and then they inject them into your body. And then when they inject them in a certain process of which they patented, your cells will revert back to that age range. And yes, that will make you 20 years of age again if you are 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Now, I'm about to tell everybody how they get your embryonic stem cells. But before I tell you that, I know a lot of people are like, I'm not doing that. That's sick and disgusting. But then I want you to put yourself in the shoes of the 79, 85-year-old people that are listening right now, that are about to hear what I'm about to say and say, fuck, sign me up. Because when you're viewed through your own mortality of given another 10 years, another 20 years, your mind changes really quick. How do they do it? Well, they take your genetic material and they put it into an embryo, and they produce about a 2-week-old clone of you. And then they pull out all the embryonic stem cells that they need from that clone. And that's how they treat you.
So you have a clone of yourself in a fridge.
Yep. You ever seen the movie The Island?
Yeah. A long time ago.
That's what this is kind of sounding like. But yeah, so you would have a clone of a 2-week-old embryo of you that's sitting in a fridge. That every time they need embryo, so in 200 years, they come back in, they pull the stem cells out, boom, there you go. Unless, and here's the key: is the technology's only going to get better from here. So yeah, it might sound disgusting, but when you're facing a death or critical illness or something like that, and you have the capability to reset your biological clock to 20 years of age, who right now would not want to go back to 20?
So kind of, if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like at that point, death becomes a choice instead of a destination.
Agreed. Yep.
It's an interesting conversation, man. Let me bring up the post from Dean Cain so everybody can see what I was talking about. So Dean Cain puts, man, I hope this is true. And here's the post where it says, Stanford scientists may have just killed the $65 billion knee and hip replacement industry. They might have a breakthrough that could regrow aging cartilage and it reverses arthritis. So I'm going to hit play right. It's like 6 seconds. It just shows an animation. That's just wild, bro.
Well,
you know, I saw this movie, God, what was it, a week ago? And damn it, what was it called? Was it called Eternity? But essentially it's, you know, it reminded me of the old movie Defending Your Life. I was like, oh, this seems like a, you know, the modern day Defending Your Life. Defending Your Life is an old 80s movie. You guys haven't seen it. It's a great movie. Go watch it. It talks about past lives and stuff like that. Super cool. But I wanted to, it's called something like Eternity. Somebody in the chat will know what I'm talking about. But the concept here is that when you die and you go to this, you know, we'll call it the transit station, right? Before you go to whatever destination you're going to, you show up at the age that you were most happiest in your life. Some people show up, they're 10, some people show up, they're 30, you know, some people show up and, you know, they're elderly. It just, you show up at the age where you're the most happiest. And listening to this, it just kind of brings me to that kind of like, you know, you can age yourself back to just, you know, like I imagine, you know, like if I was 80 years old and I remember what it felt like to go rock climbing, to be on a sport bike, you know what I mean? Sit in a studio chair for 8 hours and get up. You're like, my sciatic.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is those injuries, that feeling, that is simply oxidative stress and environmental toxicity that has taken its toll on your DNA over time to where that DNA slowly degrades and builds a worse and worse body as you get older. It's not, it's a disease and it's curable. I mean, it's curable.
We're seeing it. I mean, we're at a point right now where cancer doesn't have to be fatal anymore.
Yeah. Well, pancreatic cancer just cured. I don't know if you saw that. That was last week.
What?
Doctor in Italy has developed a process that cures, I believe it was pancreatic cancer. Let me validate that.
Well, and you even, you have RFK that came out 2 days ago. And what do you say with the keto diet? You know, you're getting rid of schizophrenia with the diet.
Oh, yeah. Schizophrenic, mental illness. Yep. So Dr. Marciano Barricade and his team developed a cure for pancreatic cancer in mice without side effects.
And see, this is what drives me bananas, bro. When people are out here, nothing's happening. Bro, what? You have fenbendazole, menbendazole, and ivermectin that is now available to Americans, right? That they can use to kill all these.
Oh, did you see that today?
No, I didn't. What?
Hold on, I'll pull that up.
Holy shit! Like it's crazy when people say nothing's happening. Like we're making food real again. I mean, the mere fact that that's even something to get excited about is crazy.
I know, right?
You know.
So Moderna posted today. They say the FDA has refused to review its application for an experimental mRNA flu shot. The FDA declined to review their new flu shot vaccine. Then, the National Institutes of Health published this today. Ivermectin, a macrocyclic lactone discovered in the mid-1970s, plays a critical role in the treatment of a wide range of parasitic diseases in humans as well as in veterinary practice. Over the past decade, researchers have explored repurposing this molecule as an anti-cancer agent following the 2015 Nobel Prize in Medicine for the discovery of ivermectin, as researchers who pioneered the concept for looking for uses beyond antibiotics for biological activity in microorganisms. The National Institutes of Health is currently funding intramural research for this purpose. And the National Cancer Institute is now research and studying, and government funding is moving into ivermectin and its role to cure cancer. Guys, it's fucking happening. You know, I see people out there talking about med beds. What if you didn't need a med bed? What if all you needed was just a little shot? And I'm not saying mRNA, because this, by the way, that stuff with Dr. David Sinclair isn't mRNA. All it is stem cells. It's so think about it like this.
Here's what I'm gonna say to what you're saying, and having to navigate this very carefully, because there's some stuff I can't say. What Josh is talking about, where the Genesis Project. I'm definitely navigating this very carefully here. These doctors got brought in to use artificial intelligence, right? Or not just doctors, but scientists, innovators, these brilliant minds. What I can say, or what I'll say carefully here, there are some of the best investigators in law enforcement that have been given access to a certain type of AI to do the work that would normally take an entire patrol division to do. So, for example, and I'm going to use something I did in this example, so this way I can explain this to you guys. When I put together an operation against a gang, you're talking months of work that was based off of years of documentation. And so you took years of documentation to months of work. You're talking surveillance, physical surveillance, electronic surveillance, all these different things, bringing people in to give conversations. And you'd put it all together, and I'd bring in 300 or 400, agents and officers, into an airport hangar. And I would tell them, these are our targets, and every team has this. And you have this evolution over a couple of weeks that ends up panning out into an operation that lasts about a half a day or so. Well, I had a conversation with someone that has done that kind of work with me and told me, hey, bro, Mayor, that operation you did, like, how many people were involved with that? And I'm like, man, from start to finish with people that were involved, talking probably close to 500 people. And how long? About 6 months. I just put one together by myself in a week. I was like, so of course the first question out of my mouth was, how the fuck did you do that with accuracy? And what he said, because obviously he can't tell me everything, and he said, AI is way more than what we understand. Yep. He goes, I've been given access to a special model. So what hearing what you're saying and hearing what he's told me, what that tells me is they're pulling in the different parts of our society and giving them access to these things, because you can't have one part of society exponentially outrun the other parts of society, because then that becomes chaotic. There's no rhythm to that. You got to have harmony. So what I imagine is there's probably people from the educational field that have been pulled out. There are probably people from the field of government that have been pulled out. I would think probably Trump. There are probably people from the military, like all the things that we kind of look at typically as a society. They're all probably being given access to these models for that. So all these things can kind of, rise together, like rise with the same tide.
Yep. So when I got to get back on, and my mind is still in the thing. So for people out there with med beds, this is what I want you to understand. Number one is that inside your cell and your DNA is always going to replicate the most accurate copy of your DNA. Okay. So it's going to go through all the different types of DNA that you have, and it's only going to say, hey, this is the best one to replicate for these cells. So when you put embryonic stem cells in your system, your DNA goes, oh shit, look at that. That's a complete model. Pull that in here. So imagine that if it was just an injection or a pill instead of sitting in a bed. Just saying. Is that the shit's real and it's happening right now. And if you're alive in the next 20 years, there's a good potential that you will be alive in the next 150.
Well, then let me ask you this, Josh, to bring it home so we could ring the Rumble rants. Is that kind of what this entire war is really about? Who's going to maintain power and control of all this stuff? Because I would imagine that the deep state's looking at this and looking at this as the ultimate weapon for tyranny.
Well, their system was basically they become the technocratic elites that are biogenetically engineered that live hundreds and hundreds of years, and they rule. They have all the wealth and they control all the resources, and you own nothing, and population's reduced by 85%, and you're just a small labor force that they keep around. That was their farm. That's what they wanted.
They said it publicly. For those that are not familiar, there's a gentleman.
Yuval Noah Harari.
Yeah. Strike the word gentleman. There's a person, Yuval Noah Harari, that makes a statement, and he's made it several times, but in one particular situation, he says, we've created arcs that are not for everybody. They're for us. They're not for everybody. Like, he didn't even hide it, man. And at first I was kind of curious. I was like, these people are so anti-God, but yet they want to create something, call it an arc, you know? And two, they're not even, he's not even concealing the fact that it's only for them and not for the rest of us. Like it was a public statement. It was during an interview. So, you know, whether you guys believe it or not, they're saying it. This is what they're saying. And this guy's, you know, for those that don't know who Yuval Noah Harari is, he was the advisor to Klaus Schwab in the World Economic. Yeah, there he is.
You have a small elite that pushes things in its own interests, even if it doesn't benefit the vast majority of the population. This has happened so many times previously in history, and it's probably going to happen again. One of the biggest dangers to the planet today is this technological utopia, because probably for the elite it will work. If bad comes to worst, and when the flood comes, the scientists will build a Noah's Ark for the elite, leaving the rest to drown, the rest of the people and then the rest of the ecosystem. But they are likely to be able to construct this technological Noah's Ark, which is probably what much of the elite is counting on.
Not my words.
Crazy, bro. So that means they've probably known. So here's the thing. They've known about the technology. Only the elite knew about it. And this is the soft disclosure that we're getting now on technology that's just been hidden from us.
So not only did they know about it, but in a lot of the Epstein emails, there's talks about Cuba and Epstein's relations with Cuba. They gave money to Cuba because they wanted the ability to dive off the coast of Cuba, because Ghislaine, Terramar, and everything that she was doing, and Epstein were looking for Atlantis. Now, they were looking for an old ancient civilization. The reason being is because elites and governments around the world were finding these things, the technology of the ancient culture, and trying to reverse engineer them. And so Epstein felt out of the loop, and they felt that they needed to acquire some of it. And so they were on a hunt for it around the world, going to all different locations from Japan to Cuba to try to find one of these spots that has ancient civilization and to grab some of the tech.
I know I said to get us to Rumble Rants, but I want to find a real quick video to actually I can upload it. I have this video. Hold on. Let me go here. It's in my files. So I only have to search X for it. Give me 1 second, folks, as I find this for you. All right. Let me look through these thumbnails, and it is.
So did you see Kirill Dmitriev today? He said, it's time to say the quiet part out loud. The Epstein case has validated many of Anand's core premises.
Oh yeah, I did say I put a comment on
With
that.
a storm right next to it.
It's uploading this video. You're gonna appreciate this video because it's right in line with the comment that we just had. I put the comment. I was like, I hope I don't piss him off because I hope he gets what I'm saying. Vindication. We can't park it at vindication. We need to use that vindication to let people know what the pathway forward looks like, what the plan looks like, to communicate. And we lost video of you, just so you know.
I know. I'm here.
Okay, I just want to let you know, just in case.
I just wanted people to see a much younger version of me and what I look like. That way, if I ever did get this therapy, they can know what to expect when I come back.
Oh, while this video is loading, what age would you pick, bro? What age would you pick to go back to?
So if I could pick an age to go back to, I would say 25. 25 would be great. 25, and that would be great. Yeah.
So this is probably going to trip you out. You know what age I would pick?
15.
No.
30.
Pause me right here. Pause me at 46, 45.
I did a lot of damage to my body.
Well, yeah, but you're going to have the stuff that, gets you in good optimal shape. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that therapy that you're showing with the knee, it's the same thing. It's the same stuff. It's the same. It's 40, the same method.
At 45, I feel like I still feel young, but I still feel like I've developed. 46.
Oh, okay. You're my age. Yeah.
Yeah. 79. I'm a 79. Was born in 2 months into 79, and I was an 80s baby. But I feel like this age, I still feel young, but I feel like I've lived enough life to have some wisdom in me. And I feel like I got that old man strength. You know what I mean? There's that's a thing, folks. There's a thing.
My son's 5'9", 189, 192. And I was showing him some wrestling moves the other day. And we were wrestling. We're going like this. And I hooked his leg and I fucking flipped him. And he smacked it. I felt so bad. I'm like, must be that old man strength.
That old man strength, baby. Look at our audience over here being all romantic. Hari Ananda says, I married my wife at 30 and just romantically told her that's the year I'd choose. Well played, Harari. Well played. Here's the video I wanted to share with you guys. So take a listen to this, and then I want to get your thoughts on this. And then after this and our discussion, we will get into the Rumble rants. I promise, folks.
A lot of time. So we always have a great time. Next question. What do you or the president know about UFOs? Can you share? I hear that the president has something in the queue to share with us about all of this. Now, truth be told, I'm trying to remember how long ago it was. It may have been right after he left office, after the first term. I remember Eric being like, all right, what can you tell us? And he was a little hesitant to give us any real info, which makes me think like he's got a lot of info out there and he's waiting for the right time to drop it. And maybe this is going to be the time, because I keep seeing all these stories about how he's got some like UFO speech that he's got queued up, and we all should just kind of sit back and wait. Now, here's the thing I'll say. What do I know about UFOs? What I know is that our universe is so enormous. It actually, if I start thinking about it, it makes me a little crazy. You think about just our solar system, okay? And then you think about how many solar systems like ours are in our galaxy. And then you think about how many galaxies are in this universe. The whole thing is just, it's kind of like mind-boggling. So the idea that the only form of intelligent life out there is us, that we're like twerking on TikTok and stuff, that's it. I don't know. I find it hard to believe. I fully believe that there's other life out there throughout the universe. And if you look at some of the like prophets, these are people hundreds of years ago, or I don't even know how long ago. A lot of them say that sometime soon we're supposed to have some sort of an interaction with another form of life from outside of our planet. So I don't know. I fully believe there's more out there. I think it would be a heck of a waste of space if it's just us here and we're doing like dumb challenges and again, like just twerking on TikTok. There's got to be more out there. Okay.
Okay. So there's more to this. I've been talking about this for a while. Eric Burleson, congressman, is heading to Area 51. Trump has authorized access to certain congressional members to the vaults.
He's going to show them the fucking aliens. Get out of here, bro.
So from what they're saying is that so Trump has authorized access to UFO, quote unquote. So you got to remember, Anna Paula Luma, Burleson, all these guys, Burchett, they had whistleblowers come forth and name bases, Schreiber, all of these bases. And they said, we can't get in there. Trump has authorized them access. Now, there's another rumor floating around that Trump has a speech, like Laura just said. Trump will announce the United States government's confirmation that certain UAP encounters involve technology and craft of non-human origin. The president will state decades of evidence, including recovered materials and eyewitness accounts from highly credible military personnel, have been rigorously analyzed by scientific and intelligence experts, leading to an unequivocal conclusion that some incidences cannot be attributed to any known human technology, domestic or foreign. President Trump will highlight several well-documented cases, including the 2004 USS Nimitz TikTok encounter, 2015 USS Roosevelt Go Fast and Gimbal incidents, and the historical 1947 Roswell incident. He will confirm that forensic analysis of recovered off-world vehicles and non-human biologics has established their extraterrestrial provenance, marking the first official acknowledgement of this reality by any world leader. President will explain that previous administrations maintained secrecy due to national security concerns, technological uncertainty, and fear of public reaction. He'll emphasize that he is the first president to authorize full disclosure because the American people deserve transparency. Current geopolitical stability allows it, and recent bipartisan congressional efforts have created a necessary framework for responsible revelation. President Trump will announce immediate steps towards declassification of related files, expanded scientific study through a new interagency task force, and international cooperation with allied nations. He will state this is not a threat. It is an opportunity to unite humanity in understanding our place in the universe. It's coming.
Listen, man. If you got Laura Trump that's putting that out there, she's not going to make the family name look bad.
Nope, she's prepping.
She's prepping.
It's called prepping the narrative.
Get a measurement of where the public sentiment is at. See what the response is like. See what the questions are that surface. So when Trump gives that speech, he knows the perfect way to deliver it.
Now, let me ask you this. It's primarily been it's been bipartisan, the approach to bring about this declassification. But Trump, this will be his legacy. If he comes out as that person who does that declass, think about the midterms. Think about strategy, leverage.
That's a damn good point. All right, folks, we're going to break to our last commercial. When we come back, we got Rumble Rants, and if there's any Badlands boosts, we'll address that. So we'll see you on the other side. Don't judge, just buy it. The following ad is rated M for mature. Soft Disclosure wants you to get naked this Valentine's Day with limited edition his and her bundles that save you 20% off the individual retail prices. Proprietary oil infusions, grass-finished beef tallow, goat's milk from American goats, locally grown herbs and ingredients. Soft Disclosure is putting America First fruits on your skin.
And for these sexy bundles, we've added an all-new boar's haired beard brush and a solid jade gua sha. And the reason I'm here is because Alpha doesn't know how to say these words.
Gusha. His, hers. We need a moment to calm down. Don't hide your skin. Disclose it. Get naked this Valentine's Day with Soft Disclosure. Head over to softdisclosure.com and save 20% off individual retail prices with our his and hers customizable bundles, and use promo code NAKED to save 15% off the rest of the site. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Promo code does not apply to bundle discounts. Use promo code NAKED. You still got a few days, folks. Make it happen. So let me bring up these Rumble rants. Going. The comments are just, you guys are wilding out.
I mean, you bring a whole new meaning to blackface, right?
You guys are just wilding out over there. All right.
Is that you?
And we appreciate you guys dropping these Rumble rants. We really do. So thank you. First one coming in. Actually, let me take down the promo code for our sponsor today. Don't forget, you guys, patriot-protect.com/DEFCON, promo code Badlands, and make it so you guys can see it. There we go. $5 from K0 Cali. Alpha, I left you a rant Sunday night. Business Insider article from February 3rd, 26. A recurring character in the Epstein files, Snow White. Seemed interesting. Lots of drops have Snow White on Sunday. So this would have been on, I'm guessing, the Middle East in 20, because we didn't do a Q after hours. Okay, if you can drop that or email it to me.
Oh yeah, I got them.
Okay, cool. Next one, $10 coming in from Salbish. Elon was right. Trump is in the Epstein files, just not the way they had hoped. As a whistleblower, old news for us, yes, but still love it. Love this show too. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Salbish. $5 from Illinois' Danny. Love the Badlands Truth community. Thanks for shining the light, gentlemen. Shameless plug. Illinois Badlanders meet up on Saturday, February 21st in Homer Glen, Illinois. RSVP information at badlandsmedia.tv/events. And you guys definitely need to go there and find the communities wherever you live. Thanks for that, Illinois, Danny. $5 from K0 Kelly. Can you comment on the Business Insider article from, the one you just told us about? I can't because I haven't read it, but I will read it, and I will comment on that on Overwatch and The Guardian. That's a way to get you guys over there. So I will read that article, and then this Thursday on Overwatch and The Guardian, we'll discuss it. $20 coming in from Lynn Yoda. Thanks for all you do. Great info. Please make a sticky note. Badlandsmedia.tv/groups to find a local group. There you go. Lynn Yoda's got it. Badlandsmedia.tv/groups. I can remember that, Lynn. I promise. I better do a sticky note. $5 coming in from Barber Lines Matter. Say you never been to jail without saying you never been to jail. You call first. That's jacked up because y'all know I've been in jail, man. That's messed up. But I will say, in my defense, the only time I've been to jail is just that one time where the FBI snatched up my soul. That's the only time I've ever been to jail as an arrestee. Obviously, I've been to jails in the course of my work. I don't know. Can you do that, Josh? Say you've never been to jail?
I've never been to jail.
All right, cool. There you go. Interesting fact. There you guys got it. So, yeah. I got street cred, folks. I got street.
Never been arrested. Never been arrested. Never been to jail.
So here, I'll share a funny story with you guys real quick. So obviously I got a clean record because of, military and law enforcement, right? But there is a portion of my family that was the other side of the law. That's why I chose to work on the complete opposite side of the valley. I didn't want to end up arresting family. And I was just like, hey, y'all think you're bad. But you ever all have the FBI SWAT team have to come get you? I was like, I got street cred now. Just putting it out there. Gotta laugh at it. $5 from one local lizard. If election fraud is proven, will one of the Brunson cases come back into play?
I don't think so.
What's that?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Brunson cases are done. There's nothing there, and anybody who's telling you otherwise is doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I love the effort. I love those guys. Had a chance to talk with one of them.
Loy's cool. Yeah, he's awesome. But there's nothing happening with it.
And I've talking to some people in some pretty significant positions that kind of share the same opinion. Like unfortunately, those are just not going to be relevant for us anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, carrying on. $5 from Salbish. $5 rent challenge average. Popcorn movie ticket, $12. Average movie length, an hour and 58 minutes. This show is better than a movie and epic length. So $5 is a bargain. You know, that's a damn good point right there. If you all would have went to the movies, you know, you're looking at, you know, $12, another what, $8, $10.
Shit, that's a discount Sunday matinee right there at $12.
Yeah, $12 is the matinee price. Then you got another, you know, $20 between popcorn, your snack, and your drink. You know, I like Salbish thinking there, folks. $5 is a bargain. $10 from True Deplorable at Salbitch. I'll see your $5 and raise it 5. Love you, Alpha and Josh.
Thanks, True Deplorable.
Dollar for dollar coming in from Jack 711113. There you go. Spit it out, Alpha. They made a movie about the kind of AI. It's called Her with Joaquin Phoenix. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, me either. I have to check that out.
$5 from Salbitch. Robin Cook wrote a book called Abduction in 2000 about marine biologists whose submersible stumbles upon an inner Earth advanced civilization that sounds almost exactly like what Josh is explaining. How did I not see any of these things?
I got it. Robin Cook?
Yeah. So Abduction and Her. God, I got such a long list of movies that I need to watch. $20 coming in from Ricky I63. It may seem wild out there thinking, does USSF and AI seem like a Halo type concept? Not so much the story, but rather the tech. Alpha and Josh, you both have the best show. Thank you. You know, I don't see that as far-fetched, man.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I think it's reality.
Yeah. Freaking Master Chief, man. $5 from Salbitch. Does Josh mean resveratrol in
Reversatol? Yep. Reversatol in red wine. Yep.
Okay. Is this why the wine drinking Old Testament folk lived to be 800? I'm in. Oh, so great comment, Sal. Because I wanted to ask you this, Josh. You know, when you go and you read the Bible as a kid, this was one of the things that always threw me for a loop. When you would hear about people living to 300 and 500, you know, these like centuries long, I was thinking like maybe their calendar was different. You know, maybe a year for them is not what a year for us was. I was like, how in the hell did people live that long? And then it makes you wonder.
There's an interesting theory out there that in pre-Diluvian times, pre-flood times, that the atmosphere in the earth was much different. I mean, if you imagine a global flood occurs, right? The ocean waters rise and everything, like a pole shift, whatever it might be, or God forsaken the earth, who knows, right? The earth is going to change. And one of the theories is that the earth had a higher oxygen content in the air. So right now you sit about 19% oxygen within what we know of as air. And they believe in pre-Diluvian times, and there's actually evidence to substantiate this. In ice core evidence of pre-Diluvian times, 10,000, 15,000 years ago, the oxygen content has been measured to be between 32 to 35%. And this is why they say things grew bigger back then. Trees were much bigger and everything like that. And so the question is what would happen for a human being in a higher oxygen environment? Well, one of the other parts about a higher oxygen environment is that oxygen kills off a lot of different bacteria, parasites. So you eliminate a lot of toxicity within the atmosphere. So if we're looking at aging as an illness or disease due to acute toxicity, and then you reduce toxicity and you increase oxygen, that could give you the whole scenario for living a lot longer.
Damn. How you like that, Sal, bitch? Freaking the way, dude, your brain is like this encyclopedia. It's fucking crazy, dude. I love it, man. $10 from Ron 4T. I started reading Dr. David Sinclair's book, Lifespan, a couple of months ago. It's all about why we age.
Yep.
$20 coming in from Joe Bisbee. I hope something happens soon or we will lose the midterms. Dems are in hyperdrive. A valid
Still,
concern.
I haven't heard one thing about any Dems raising any money.
Still haven't. And doesn't look like we had any Badlands boost that came in. So let me shrink my screen back to 100%. We got about 6,000 people watching us on Rumble. Do us a solid, folks. So while you're watching here live, smash that thumb. If you happen to be catching the replay and you didn't get to have fun with us live, do us a favor anyways and smash that thumb and leave a comment. Put this show on the leaderboard. And we ask that you guys do that on all different platforms, on YouTube, on X, wherever it is that you're watching. Josh, you got anything coming up that you want to let the audience know about, brother?
We got Overwatch and the Guardian Thursday night. That's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. My regular show the next few days. I have, if you guys like my albums from Guardian of Truth, that was more kind of patriotic and just writings that I've done. And I got a little black book with my poems in. If anybody understands what that verse is from, that's from Pink Floyd's The Wall. I got a little black book with my poems in. I got a bag, a toothbrush, and a comb. But I've been writing lyrics for years. I got lyric books all right here, poems, lyrics, just journals, whatever. And so I took that and I made an album. So that's Guardians of Truth. That's on redpillsmusic.com. And I have another one coming out. And I have a few songs that I've already gotten done. And there's some cool ones. But these ones are not like these are personal. These are songs that these are lyrics that I wrote when I was going through my divorce and when I was just in a bad place in life and looking for inspiration, these types of things. So it's more of kind of and by the way, the music as well, all the guitar, I wrote all of this. So I had them all on my phone that I sung and played on my guitar, but trust me, you don't want to hear me sing. It's bad. And the way I did this is I basically took all this, put it in the AI and said, hey, clean this up, make this better. And it came out with these versions. So I got some of those coming out and that should be out in probably another week or so. I got one music video from it, which is, so actually the funny thing about this video that I have, I'll play, if you guys want to, I can play this song, but I wrote this after Thursday. So after our show, when we were talking about 80s, dude, I was stuck in this nostalgia. And there's a song out there by Jack Johnson called Constellation. And it's one of my favorite. It's one of the hardest songs I've ever learned to play on the guitar. It's an incredibly difficult song. And so I was listening to it afterwards and I'm like, shit. And I picked up my phone and I opened up my notepad and I started writing the lyrics and I'm like, oh, this is so good. And that's kind of what got me going on all of this. But yeah, I have that coming out. It'll be over on Red Pills Music.
Definitely would love to hear that on the way out. I think that'd be super cool. So I'll buy you some time to set that up if you need to. And I definitely want to remind you guys, Operation Gladio tomorrow, live show with the Colonel. You guys will enjoy that. And then Thursday night, folks, don't miss episode 1 of Overwatch and the Guardian. A tremendous amount of positive feedback that came from everybody. So I think you guys, if you didn't get to see it, go watch it. And if not, catch episode 1, which will be airing this Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to watch the other stuff that I do, go check out the Alpha Warrior Show here on Rumble. And I think our links are down in the description below. So with that, I do have something that it's a teaser. So this is a conversation I want to have with Josh on Overwatch and the Guardian. I have not told him about it. So this is the first that he's going to hear about it. But it is a conversation that I want to have, and I'm sure that in the next few days we can make this happen. I had an audience member that posted a comment, and I've got to remember what day it was, but I think it was like, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Let's just say the day was a Friday, right? And they said, I'm glad, I was happy about the show you did, because that day I felt a little lightheaded and dizzy, and it just felt off that day. And I was just like, oh, I'm glad I made that person feel a little bit better. But what was interesting was that the moment in time and day that she described, that same day, I felt off. And I remember while I was at the gym, felt a little off-centered and all that. I was like, oh, maybe I'm pushing it a little too hard today. Then a couple more comments came in from people that not on the post, just things that I saw on social media. So, I screenshot a couple of them, and all on the same day, all within the same about 3-4 hour window. You have a lot of people from different parts of the country that were talking about feeling off center, feeling a little bit of a dizziness, or like heart palpitations. A couple people have put, and I was just like, man, that's a lot of people, on a time frame. And I was like, we're talking about like these pole shifts, and we talk about these things, and I was like, I wonder if there's some things that happen that only affect certain people, because these people are.
What day was it?
I have to go back and look, man. I will get that.
Was it after our show?
Yes. I think I want to say yes. I could be wrong, but because our show was Thursday. Yeah, I want to say it was after our show, or was it the same day as our show?
Okay, so
it had to be between Thursday and it was either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, because those were the 3 days that I went to the gym.
Okay.
Yeah, so it had to be one of those 3 days.
Hold on, I got an idea. Keep on going.
So, but yeah, so I was like, I wonder if there's certain things that happen, whether it's the gravitational pull of the earth or the tides, whatever. I have no idea. But a lot of us, whether it's blood types, whether it's DNA, I wonder if there's certain things that happen that no matter where you're at in the world, if you're a certain signature of a person, that you share these same reactions to whatever it was that happened, whether it's the planetary alignments, like who knows? But I was like, this would be a fun conversation for us to have on Overwatch and the Guardian.
Yeah, absolutely. I was trying to see if it was a full moon that night, but it was a waning gibbous, so it wasn't a full moon.
Yeah, I will, because I have some of the comments screenshotted, and I have that specific message saved. So I will get the specific date and the window, like the time frame of that window, and put it all into play.
All right. No good.
So no, with that, we are gonna call it a night, folks. Smash the thumb, hit the heart, like, and we're
all right
here. God bless everybody.
Don't mind my AI video. It's just an AI video, okay? But this is for me is
two Rumble Rants that came in. Let me grab these guys. Cool. $17 came in from Ravelin. It's resversatile. They pronounce resversatile.
Reverse it all.
I like that. Reversatile. I like that. And then dollar for dollar from Catherine 64. I would have had to stay home and missed you both. Broke. Don't worry, we'll always be here.
Appreciate
all right,
you guys.
Josh.
All right, so this song is, I don't know if anybody had like the childhood I had up, but this is just missing the 80s, missing the 90s. That's what this song's about. So enjoy, and we'll see you guys next time.
Knew our name, skateboard scars and summer rain, pocket change and worn out jeans, trading baseball cards and dreams, Walkman playing cider twice, late night drives on borrowed time, payphones ringing in the dark, tracing futures in sidewalk chalk. We didn't need much back then, just a sky and a couple friends. We didn't need much back then, just the sky and a couple friends, constellations rising over the trees, a bonfire just to set the mind at ease. Time didn't exist, it just drifted by, between a laugh and a midnight sky. We were infinite and borrowed you, believing love was permanent truth. My first smoke and my first toad, drinking till the sun comes up, just teenagers living free, thinking of what could be. Saturday cartoons and cereal bowls, Polaroids fading and shoebox roads, video stores and rewind finds, rolling credits on simpler times. We didn't know who we'd become, just knew we weren't done. We didn't need much back then, just the sky and a couple friends, constellations rising over the trees, a bonfire just to set the mind at ease. Time didn't exist, it just drifted by. Between a laugh and a midnight sky, we were infinite and borrowed you. Believing love was permanent true. Now I watch it all replay in faded frames and yesterday. Funny how you don't see the magic then till it's living in your head. Now I see us in the rear view, young and wild with nothing to lose, laughing loud in borrowed cars, making wishes on dying stars. Funny how the moments fade, but the feeling always stays. I watch that kid I used to be, still chasing timeless nights of eternity. He didn't know about broken plans, mortgage dreams and shaking hands. Didn't know how fast it flies between first love and tired eyes. Now I sit with these quiet scars, counting years instead of stars, smiling at the ghosts I knew, while they're smiling right back too. Didn't need much back then, just the sky and a couple friends, constellations rising over the trees. Bonfire just to set the mind at ease. Time didn't exist, it just drifted by. Between a laugh and a midnight sky, we were infinite and borrowed youth. Believing love was permanent true. Take me back to those childhood memories where nostalgia wants me to be. Back when life was simple and slow, before we learn what we don't know. Now I sit beneath these passing moons, humming along to old love tunes, still chasing sunsets and parked cars, still wishing up on shooting stars. So here's to us wherever we are, still looking up, still bearing scars. If you ever feel lost in the noise of now, close your eyes, I'll meet you somehow. Under neon skies and satellite moons, with the rest of us nostalgic dreamers too.
Lift it up.